Pound.
In a world,
Shut the hell up.
where Carolina Panthers fans
Anthony from Charlotte, keep motherfucking pounding.
have an insatiable thirst
I need to see a lot more of that shit going forward.
for Panthers news and opinions.
All my C3 brethren from the C3 Legion.
Only one podcast roars ferociously.
The longest running Panthers podcast on the internet.
It's the C3 Panthers Podcast.
Oh, Greg, I owe y'all $100, man.
Holy cow. Week 2. And we're asking, is Bryce Young done as a Carolina Panther quarterback? We'll be talking about his future in the NFL as well, as the Carolina Panthers announced that they will be starting Andy Dalton heading into week 3 with the Las Vegas Raiders instead of the number 1 overall pick from last year, who was started from day 1, has had a very difficult time. We'll ask, is Bryce Young the biggest draft bust ever? At least that's what a lot of people are talking about. And have the Panthers found new juice with the red rifle? Or is it the rusty rifle at this point? You're listening to the C3 Panthers Podcast, the longest running Panthers podcast on the internet. My name's Tony Dunn. We're here every Tuesday night chopping up the latest Panthers news and opinions from the fan perspective. Each and every week, I do it with my homeboy, Cody Lack. How you doing?
Tony Dunn. I feel more excited going into this game with the Raiders than I did at the start of the season
Oh, stop.
for the Panthers, dude. A red rifle back in action. He altered the best performance out of any Panthers quarterback in the past 2 years, and he's back under center, baby. We have so much to talk about tonight. Bryce is benching. We also have the releasing of Eku Leota. Man, you already know that we're going to do this with the best damn Panther fans in all of YouTube. Tony, you know him, I love him. It's Joey the Flying Panther, the brand ambassador, Diesel Skittles, C3 Doug, Pad1 Panther, everything digital, C3J Dyson, Final Boss, Forest City Kitty, Jacob Robinson, KG73s, Kristen Butler, Michael Johnson, Muscles Marinara Paisan, Panther Gal 73, Tim Estes, and Zach Altman. Tony Dunn, ain't nothing to it but to do it, brother. Let's roll.
The number is 252-228-5098. You can call in and leave a message. We'll play it on tonight's podcast. Let us know if you think that Bryce Young was benched too early. Was this premature? Was this the right move? Who made this move? Was this a move independently made by Canales in concert, I guess, in consultation with people? Or are there darker, stronger, more rich forces at play here? CK, the voice that makes him moist. We've wanted Bryce to work. I know that people were critical of him. I didn't realize that the Panthers coaching staff was going to come out and just say, not next week.
Yeah, it's a surprise to have it happen so quickly. But I tell you what, is that if it's not an indictment on the performance that Bryce put up, I don't know what else is. I mean, to go from being this is our quarterback, and in less than 12 hours after reviewing the film, it's okay, we're moving on with Andy Dalton. I think that it's a couple of things. Number one, when you look at Dan Morgan, he said he wanted dogs. And I hate to say it, but Bryce has never been a dog. Like, no matter what, he's just never been a dog. And so I think that this was not as difficult of a decision from Dan Morgan's perspective as it is, for Dave Canales. It's definitely a Dave Canales, thing where it's like, okay, yeah, this is a hard decision for him. But man, I don't think there was just a single person at the beginning of the season that would have think that two games in that we're making this change.
Do us a solid, folks. Smash the thumbs up button. Subscribe to the podcast. We're here on Tuesday nights. We're here on Fridays with the free-for-all. We're also doing the post-game show and more content coming to you each and every week. We appreciate your time. And that thumbs up is free copay. Get on the C3 therapy couch if you like. We appreciate all copays. Cody Lack, let's go ahead and jump into this show. Carolina Panthers, after 2 weeks of getting blown out.
Yeah.
Blown out.
Destroyed.
Announced that Bryce Young would not be the starter this week, but they would be going forward with Andy Dalton. And let's hear. Can we hear from the coach on a little bit about this? Because, there's question is the day before Dave Canales said Bryce Young is our starter, which I get the understanding too. That's what you say after the game. But let's hear about his decision to move on with Andy Dalton.
Las Vegas to play the Raiders, sitting Bryce down here. After yesterday, just went home, watched the film, had some conversations with coaches, with Dan Brandt. So had to gather a lot of information through this morning and made that decision after looking at it that this is the best decision for our group, for our team going forward.
Dave, how difficult is it to evaluate a roster when you guys are not moving the ball down the field, not just on offense, but the entire product?
Yeah, there's a lot of factors. We want to play more football. A lot of factors that go into it, for this decision, and ultimately just kind of lands on my shoulders to be able to make the best decision for our group, to give us our best chance to win this week. And we focus on the weeks, we focus on the challenge at hand, and we feel like Andy gives us our best chance.
So there you have it. Dave Canales, after looking at the film overnight, said that he got as much information as possible, talked with people in the organization who he respected, and came to the conclusion that Andy Dalton gave the Carolina Panthers the best shot at victory. Now, Tony, this is the first thing that I said when I popped on to the postgame show on Sunday, that we are at a countdown to when we see Andy Dalton, because there's no way that we can continue to go on with the offense looking as inept as it is, with Bryce looking as shell-shocked as he is, not being able to read coverages, not having any sort of pocket presence or timing and rhythm with this offense. And it was also sort of rumored that Bryce Young had lost the locker room. There was some visible angst on the sideline between Adam Thielen and I believe Deontay Johnson at one point in time. And this is from Jordan Schultz. Panthers quarterback Bryce Young and those close to him were very shocked at the organization's decision to bench him this morning. It came out of nowhere. So my question to you all is, was Bryce Young really shocked by this? How do you not know that this is coming? And are the Carolina Panthers making the right decision? Is it time to move to Andy Dalton, or like some fans wanted, should we have just ran with Bryce in an attempt to be terrible and get the number 1 overall pick? Fellas, how y'all feel?
Can I take this one?
Go for it.
The number 1 overall pick would not have fixed our team. We are terrible right now because of the owner that we have. The owner has completely ruined our franchise. 100%. This is on the owner. Look, everybody thinks I'm going to dunk on Bryce, and I've been right about Bryce, so I'm not going to dunk on him, okay? But our owner has ruined our franchise. Completely ruined our franchise. It costs more to buy a beer at the game than it does to buy a fucking ticket. Okay? That is a problem with an NFL franchise. All right? Right now, what this team needs to do is try to win as many games as it can to rebuild the fan base. And the best option is to put Andy Dalton in at the beginning. I don't think Andy Dalton's going to win a ton of games. He's not going to. We have a terrible team. But Andy Dalton is going to win at least 3 to 4 times the amount of games that Bryce Young would. We were going to be the only 0-17 team ever in the history of the NFL. I guarantee it. Y'all say I'm wrong. People say I'm wrong about a lot of shit, but I'm right about a whole lot of stuff. I'm telling y'all, we were going to be the only 0-17 team.
Well, you are right about that beer
I'm right about
ticket thing.
Hey, and
I'm
right about that. You know what? I trust anybody that has a red beard. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, man. Listen, one, I can attest to how crazy the fucking prices are inside that stadium.
Yeah.
But I mean, do we really think that Bryce Young was surprised? I mean, literally after the most terrible 18 games?
He got his $25 million, man. He can relax the rest of his life.
Quarterback could ever have. I don't understand. Like, did Bryce Young, and again, this is all rumors, This is just what Jordan Schultz is saying. But if you're Bryce Young, how could you be surprised that they're pulling you? That's just
because here I think is that it did kind of come out of nowhere in a sense, is that the speed that this decision came yesterday. They're saying, look, he's our quarterback.
He lost
and
the locker room.
This by Monday morning was like, nah, he's not our quarterback. Didn't need to watch the tape twice. I think what stuck out to me, I was a proponent of, and I think Bryce probably thought this is what was going to happen too, and that is that they're just going to go out there and trot him out regardless. And he's going to have to sink or swim for the rest of the season and most likely sink with this team. But what stood out to me about the Dave Canales presser is he said, we want to play more football. No, he said, we want to play more football. And what he means by that, he's saying, I think what you could read into that or in one manner is that if we kept Bryce in, the whole team, the season's just over.
The morale
tank. You're already acknowledging that you're giving up in 2024, giving up. And that's difficult in a sport that is built on competitors and competition. And I think was probably an ethical move by the Carolina Panthers, because Deontay Johnson was on pace to not even get 40 catches this year.
Yeah.
This guy's going to lose $10 million from this just being that bad.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Is you have guys out there who don't have the luxury of being the number 1 overall pick, who didn't get traded for, but are trying to make a career. And if you just give up, put them in, that's unethical to them.
Yeah.
Can we give a little bit of context here too? So this is the Carolina Panthers on second and long pass rate since 2023. People, listen, there's been so much talk about
you can't you almost can miss where the Panthers are at.
Yeah, dude, they're at the very bottom. Let me
in the hallway.
Let me make sure I don't have any comments up so you don't blot out the logo down there.
And they're almost blocking the 0.
But listen,
and is that a literal 0?
It
pretty close.
Pretty close as hell. But no, listen, I'll say this, man. There's this notion that the Carolina Panthers ruined Bryce Young, and if you want to talk about last year, him not having enough support, that's fine. But they went out and got him an offensive-minded head coach who was known for turning around quarterback play. They got 2 guards, left and right guard, and by the way, the offensive line, according to PFF, is a top 5 pass protecting offensive line right now. Then you go out and get Deontay Johnson. Then you go out and draft Xavier Legette. The Panthers have options right now, and Bryce Young is holding the team back in a way that is making them the most terrible team in all of football.
Right.
If you want to say last year he was behind the curve because of the team, that's fine. But the Carolina Panthers did enough to put enough around Bryce Young to give him a chance. Right. And through 2 games of the year, they are already done with the number 1 overall pick that they traded Christian McCaffrey and DJ Moore to go up and select. This is going to be one of the worst stains ever on the history of the Carolina Panthers. And now the question that we're asking is this already the final time that we have seen Bryce Young out there on the field? Because if Andy Dalton has a good performance, I don't know how you could ever justify handing the reins back over to Bryce Young. I don't know.
There's only one way.
Well, look, right now, what David Tepper needs to do is win back the fans. He has lost the fans. I'm telling y'all, this is where the money is. He has lost the fans. The second he got it rid of Cam Newton, he started losing the fans. He has got to win these fans back, because that is the only thing that's going to save this team right now. We're not going to be good for a long time. We know that. Okay. But if you can give me 4 to 5 wins this year, as opposed to the shit that we've seen for the last few years, I'm going to be a fan again. Right now, I feel like you're breaking up with a girlfriend that you really, really like, but the only reason you're with her, she's super crazy. The only reason you're with her is because she has good sex, And like the good sex is almost not enough right now. Like it really isn't. Like I'm almost at the point of breaking up because the good sex is not enough. Like I've got to have something more. He's got to win the fans back. Period. That is the main thing he has to do right now. And the only way to do that is to win games. I don't care if we go 4-13 this year. I want to see competitive football and win games. Period. And I think a lot of fans are with me on that.
CK, you got something? Because I want to respond to Cody.
Yeah, I mean, I think that Greg's got a point on the front that you got to win back the fans 100%. I personally don't necessarily I still think that last year is residual for Bryce because it's just he's making the same decisions that he made last year with
worse
with a bad offensive line or with a better offensive line, like actually a top 5 pass blocking offensive line in the league, by the way.
I don't even think he played this bad at all last year.
Right. And so I personally think, again, I'm a personal proponent of, I think where you go is a big deciding factor of whether you're going to be a bust or not. And the reason that's the case is let's look at the track record of guys going to bad franchises and then they go to a franchise that has the pieces in place. They get an opportunity and they actually make the best of it. Right now, we've already got Sam Darnold. We've already got Baker Mayfield. You have Geno Smith. There is a track record of these guys who are considered busts at one time in their career, all of a sudden being competitive again.
But they're not rookies.
Right. But exactly. And that's my point.
Bryce ain't a rookie either. Just so y'all know, Bryce is not a rookie either.
Right.
He's had one full year in the NFL.
Right. What I'm saying is that those careers those are all stories that have taken time to rejuvenate and
that's what I'm stating. Is that's my point. Is
all those guys also
the idea that Bryce cannot compete and be a quarterback in this league just because of what you've seen the first year and a half is not something that you can't reasonably make that assumption when you see the history of the first overall picks, second overall picks, or top 10 picks finding their way back into relevancy in this league.
I don't know if I can completely agree on that because the guys you also listed had all in their struggles so far more success than Bryce Young is. And let's go ahead and actually I wanted to you brought up too many damn questions, Cody.
I know. Well,
the first question I want you to do this is I do want to address the question where you said, do you think Bryce Young is done? You were saying if Andy Dalton goes out there and has a good game, he's done. Bryce right now is effectively intentionally sitting him for the entire season.
Yeah.
They're not sitting him for a week or two to get rid of his PTSD right now. But there is a way for him to get back on the field, and maybe the only way for him to find any way to rejuvenate his career in Carolina or extend it. And that would be for Andy Dalton to have some modicum of success in the next 6-7 weeks, get the team feeling better, get Dave Canales more comfortable coaching, get some momentum, and then Andy Dalton gets hurt. Bryce Young comes in there and with a little bit more wind behind their backs has some success that could then propel him to building some confidence back.
Right.
That's the only way I can see him being brought back out this year intentionally. Like he's not going to win the job over Andy Dalton from now on.
Yeah, or if Dalton got hurt I don't know how you can make the decision to go back to Bryce Young. And and by the way, shout out to Thomas Haynes. Bryce Young was the least pressured quarterback in the NFL last Sunday. So it's one of those, we are used to hearing and bitching and complaining about how terrible the offensive line is. And the O-line is not the problem. I was at the game on Sunday. I have the sunburn to prove it. There are open wide receivers out there on this field. And Bryce Young is just not hitting him, not hitting any of them. So, I mean, the only way that you could justify, in my opinion, going back to Bryce Young is if you just say, listen, we paid too much money and too much capital and gave up too many good players to go up and get Bryce Young. We have spent too much on him that you have to give him a chance. But
this would not be the first team that moved on from a high draft pick that they gave up a lot for. In fact, we've seen it in the same draft with both Trey Lance and Zach Wilson.
Well, do you guys remember whenever I brought up Jamarcus Russell a few years ago, and everybody called me crazy for comparing Jamarcus Russell to Bryce Young?
Remember. And
hey, who's crazy now?
He's worse.
That's all I'm saying.
He's worse than Jamarcus Russell too.
Look, do you guys realize that Sam Darnold, who was a quarterback for us 2 years ago,
threw
one pass this week that had more yards than Bryce Young had in the entire game?
Yeah, I mean, that's also just
one pass.
Being a monster.
Well, yeah, it's Yak. I get that.
Yeah, but Bryce wouldn't have thrown that pass. We know that.
Dimes, baby.
I mean, come on, man. Like, this is ridiculous. And like I said, I don't want to dunk on Bryce a ton. It's mainly about Tepper. Tepper is the problem.
You also have Baker Mayfield continuing to look really good out there in Tampa.
Oh, looking great.
Yeah, I mean, so it's like other players go other places and find a new home. It's like a lot of people are already saying, well, maybe that's what's going to happen with Bryce. Tony, I know I threw out a bunch of questions, but another question I think we have to ask is this. You've already seen so many people saying that they should try and trade Bryce Young, that we should try and move him in some way, shape, or form. You're already hearing the Miami Dolphins as a potential trade partner. Dan Orlovsky said the Los Angeles Rams on the Pat McAfee show. Even Steve Smith is saying that he doesn't believe Bryce is done in Carolina.
They just want
what sort of trade value, if any, does Bryce Young have? And then when we're done, I'm going to read some super chats, Tom.
Okay, well, actually, let's go to hold on. I think I've got a clip that would be, let me make sure I got the time mark, 2:19. This is Sal Pal Antonio on Dan Patrick today addressing that very question that you just asked.
Young. I mean, what would you give up for Bryce Young?
Well, Dallas gave a fourth round pick for Trey Lance.
Okay. Trey Lance is a different cat now. Trey Lance has got a big arm and he's much bigger, faster, stronger than Bryce Young.
Wait, you like Trey Lance better than Bryce Young?
Absolutely. 100%. Yes.
Oh boy.
I do too.
That's a hot take.
I do. Well, I don't think it's
a hot take. It's reality.
I think it's pretty clear. Yeah. I mean, Bryce Young needs a lot of coaching and time to learn. He's got to sit and learn.
Yeah.
And they've got to get stuff around him. But here's the thing, Dan. You got 9 0-2.
So that's talking about the trade value. If you wanted to trade him now, 4th round pick to another
how
team.
Embarrassing, man. For everything that we gave up to go and get him. God. But like realistically, if you're Dan Morgan and Brant,
you can't trade him. There's too many sunk costs in this player. There's too many sunk costs at this moment. I mean, I don't even know what you would do. Is maybe you just get to next season at draft time and then start thinking about dealing them. How about this? Let's get these super chats. Let's knock these super chats out. And we've got a sponsor for tonight's show we need to hit up.
Yes, sir. C3J Dyson says, I'll never doubt Greg, a.k.a. the Fat Daddy, a.k.a. the modern day Nostradamus ever again. Shout out to C3 Josh Dyson. Tyler Jones has been a member for 23 months. Thank you, Tyler. Mike Hollinger with the $10.
Thank you.
If we continue to develop Bryce behind Dalton for the rest of the season, next year revisit after a coach has had a year with them. Tom Brady and Kurt Warner agree. Guys are rushed to play. Could he come back stronger? And really, this is a question that we're all asking right now. Is this the final time that we've seen Bryce Young under center for the Carolina Panthers? I would argue that the answer is yes, but I can see how some people might say that maybe there is an opportunity for him to come back. I don't know. It's a big time question, man. Shout out to Kendra Main Shepherd, my man, with the $20 love bomb. Says, unlike other first overall pick quarterbacks, Bryce is literally at a physical disadvantage wherever he goes. No offensive system or offensive personnel can survive jump passes and poor field vision due to lack of height. Oh, tough one, man.
Guy's an inch taller than me, man. I'm sorry. I can throw a football, but dude's an inch taller than me. It's ridiculous. I can't play in the NFL. Sorry.
And then our boy Kyle, Charlotte Sports One, says the Dolphins just got Tyler Huntley. Stop it. LOL.
Big shout out to you guys. Thank you for your copays and C3 therapy. Smash the thumbs up button. There's also been some people donating some super stickers and stuff like that in the comments after the live YouTube. We appreciate you guys' support. We most importantly appreciate your time. And guys, I want to bring this up is that I didn't know. I joked for a long time when it came, my friend Clip, who's a Commanders fan, he said, I've got 4 weeks of football before I turn to fantasy football. I had no idea that the Carolina Panthers had 12 minutes into week 1 before we turned to fantasy football, but we got you covered, guys, because Underdog Fantasy is a place where over 1 million fans across 33 states got in the game last year by making picks on Underdog. Went up to 1,000 times your money by just choosing higher or lower on your favorite players' stats, touchdowns, passing yards, and more. I've already pulled up Underdog. I've already started looking at other games, and I've already started thinking about fantasy football rather than reality football. Making picks on Underdog is straightforward, and signing up is easier and even easier. Just head over to Underdog's simple-to-use mobile app or underdogfantasy.com. Sign up with the promo code C3P. That's C3P, and Underdog will give you a free pick to use on your first cash pick'em, plus up to $1,000 in bonus cash when you deposit. That's Underdog Fantasy, promo code C3P to claim your new customer special for a free pick and deposit your offer. You must be 18 or older, 21 or older in Massachusetts, Arizona, Alaska, and New England, and present in the state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. Void in Colorado. Concerned with your play, call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.ncggambling.org. And in other states, you can do other stuff. That's in the description, guys. Go make some money on those pick'ems, on those player props at Underdog Fantasy. Make sure you use the C3P code. They're going to be with us all season, guys.
Shout out to Underdog Fantasy, man. Great to have another sponsor for the duration of this season and into the playoffs, man. That ought to be cool. So we appreciate it, Underdog Fantasy. Did anybody have any other takes on this?
Well, we got a lot more to talk about, but I want to do is because we're going to have a lot of calls. So let's see what some of these fans have to say. Let's go ahead and start jumping into the cat calls. The number's 252-228-5098. We'd love to get your take on Bryce Young, his future in Carolina, the Carolina Panthers' future with Andy Dalton, and your thoughts on the long-term ramifications of this move.
So what are your thoughts on catcalling?
Yeah, it's pretty. You shouldn't do that to somebody.
And how did that make you feel?
Very uncomfortable.
So how do you think catcalling makes the person feel?
It feels good, like.
Who's that cat sitting in the back corner with his face buried in his nose? Who's that kid that can use one?
C3 Panther Nation. To my man CK, Tony Dunn, Cody Lack, what up? It's your boy CP, the vintage retro man, North Carolina's neighborhood hope dealer.
What's up, buddy?
I see here that the red rifle is in. It's red rifle hunting season, baby. Hey, look, I hate it for Bryce, man, but let's be honest, man. It was painful to see him out there, and a change was needed, and that's cool. But listen, before we go too far with Andy Dalton, hey, man, this defense has looked atrocious through 2 games. I just got a question, man. Do y'all think it's the talent or is it E.J. Evero's 3-4 scheme? Man, what's going on? We giving up, on average, 180 rushing yards per game? Man, that's unacceptable. Penalties, special teams blunders. I'm just saying, all I'm saying, look, it's red rifle season, but look, people got to manage the expectations of what Andy Dalton can do. He just really started taking first team reps, but at the end of the day, I get it. I get it, Coach Canales. I understand. We play to win. We don't play for future draft picks. You know why, C3 Nation? Because Carolina, we don't know how to draft.
True that.
But hey, look, once again, it's your boy, man, the Hope Dealer, man. I appreciate y'all so much. Appreciate what y'all do to everybody out there in C3 Nation. Keep pounding. Let's go. Let's get it, baby. Later.
Man, listen.
That's a strong first call of the night right there.
Strong. Listen,
real talk.
Yeah. No, I was about to say that the defense, we don't talk about it enough because the quarterback conversation takes up so much of the air in the room. The defense is abysmal, man. And listen, the more and more time goes on, I'm done with the 3-4. How many years in a row do we have to fit a square peg into a round hole to admit that this isn't working out for us, man? Like, we're not putting the right type of personnel on the field for that 3-4, in my opinion. We don't have the necessary outside linebacker help. We cut Eku Leota today, which was very weird. And Jadeveon Clowney. I have a stat for y'all. Joe Alt, the new right tackle for the Los Angeles Chargers, held Jadeveon Clowney to a career low. Right now, he has 0 sacks, 3 solo tackles, 0 forced fumbles. It's not looking good right now.
That guy locked up. Who's the guy?
Max Crosby, who we're facing this Sunday.
Last week. So,
how'd Bose do?
Well, they ran the ball just fine against us. I wanted to comment on the defense, and that is to say, how could the defense not be abysmal? I mean, in reality, we know that the team sacrificed all assets in the offseason ultimately on the offensive side of the ball. They threw the defense to the it's the baby sacrifice to the gods in a sense. But then not only is this defense playing with players that, limited talent, if even that, they're in a position where I think it's impossible for them to win. I mean, they can win some downs. They can win a drive. In fact, to be honest, the defense in the first half kept the Carolina Panthers in the game.
Yeah.
Turnover, some different things like that. And how can a defense that is not like 85 Bears or 2013 Carolina Panthers, how could they even contend when an offense can't convert a third down?
You hit the nail on the head, Tony. Go ahead, CK.
I was going to say that argument would have been like more relevant in not your argument, Tony, but the argument against your point would have been easily made in week 1 because our defense didn't do anything in week 1, even before the offense. Like, I mean, if you can't stop them on drive 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5, like you
or
can't
6,
really
7, 8, 9, and 10.
Right. Well, I mean, at least the first 5, you can't really just say that they didn't get a chance to rest. I mean, you're coming up, in with a brand new week. You've had an entire week of rest, things like that, right? And we're only in week 2. So let's be real about some stuff. These guys aren't necessarily playing with that level of exhaustion. Now, this week, on the other hand, our defense actually did a really good job in the first half keeping us in this game up until like the halfway through the second quarter. And then it just kind of went off the rails.
Let me ask you this.
That's a third of the way through the game.
Okay, so again, we have to go back to the offense in order to talk about this defense. I wonder if this defense can be good enough if we just had an offense that can manage to keep them off the field for a little while.
For even just 45 seconds.
Look,
yeah, but also imagine how much more aggressive you might be able to be with this defense if for once you were able to play with the lead. The Carolina Panthers in the past, I forget how long, have only had a lead.
10 seconds.
10 seconds.
10 seconds.
Since last season.
Since last season.
What is this defense supposed to do?
It's
Now,
impossible. They can't do any. You can't scheme out of that. You know,
we have
you
scored
can't
16
scheme when a team.
points. Good, sorry.
Well, I'm just saying you can't scheme when a team is constantly ahead of you in down distance and points. Now, I don't know if I agree completely with you. CK is like, how can last week? Yeah, giving up the big play, but then on the first play, intercept. Then they're back out there. Like, is that the defense isn't good? But
agreed.
They can't stop it. I mean, they might have been able to stop it all, but like we're asking the defense to make stops. The offense isn't even getting first downs, dude.
No,
right?
He didn't get a first down in this Chargers game until like the third quarter or something. It's like a late second.
We've scored 16 points. 16 points in the last 4 NFL games. The only 2 games we've won in the last 2 years have been by defense, not by offense. We didn't score an offensive touchdown in any game we won last year. The only 2 games we won were by defense, not by offense. And our defense cannot win in every game the entire time. You look at the one play, like the second touchdown they had, J.C. Horn was rushing the passer, right? He was the guy who would have been there covering the guy who was wide open in the end zone that scored the touchdown. So you either got to win at the line and make that sack or get that pressure, or be the guy back there defending that ball. You can't do it all. The defense cannot win every game, man. This team is really, really needs a lot of work. I'm telling you, the defense can't do it all. And I think the defense gets a lot of shame. They really shouldn't. They're not great, but they cannot play the entire game and expect to win the game. The offense has to be on the field more than 3 plays.
And to that point, too, even before Derek Brown got injured against the Saints, Taysom Hill and Alvin Kamara were running it right up the gut. And that's where we're supposed to be the strongest, because we have the big guys in the middle. You had Shy Tuttle, Derek Brown, you had Ishaun Robinson, and it doesn't matter. They're still running right on us. There, in my opinion, there are not enough linebackers on the field to make this defense competent in stopping the run. And more importantly, every year there's a turnaround at your linebacker position. I mean, I would much rather see Trevin Wallace out there than to continue to try out Josie Jewell, who we know is only a stopgap linebacker anyway, man. I'd rather see the younger talent.
I don't even know how you approach anything on this team until you can put an offense out there that can move the ball one time. I want to say we had like we can, like how many first downs have we had in 2 weeks? And it's not
throw the ball further than 3 yards.
Yeah.
And then the third down conversion is like 2 for like 30 or something. I mean, we'll have to look it up. Let's take another call. See what these guys got to say about Bryce.
It's showtime. What's up, y'all? Lou from Fort Myers, bro.
What's up, Lou?
You know how I'm feeling? I see sunshine on a cloudy day. What?
Big red beard.
This nigga Dave Canales answered all our fucking prayers. I was gonna give up hope on him. He did something what no coach would ever do, which bench that motherfucker Bryce Young.
He grabbed his balls and made a call.
I'm happy.
Yeah.
This
glad.
feels like you just bought a $5 scratch-off ticket and won $100. This feels like you called on the radio and you just got a free vacation.
Dang.
How could I get so lucky with Dave Canales? I'm glad he knows what's up. He knows what's up. The people been asking for it. The people been screaming for it. Andy Dalton, dude. He's going to come out here and ball. Who we got? Vegas next? We are balling. Bryce Young is going to learn more sitting on that bench than playing inside the game, and y'all don't even understand. It's much easier to watch other people make mistakes than to make yourself, like you make the mistake yourself and then try to learn from it. It's much easier to watch somebody else fuck up. So, like, I'm just happy, bruh. Like, I've been seeing the memes, everybody clowning us, like, what we gave up for Bryce Young and this and that. Oh, whoop-de-fucking-do. I can't get it back. We can't get it back. You know what I'm saying? What you want me to do? People clowning me like, oh, you're a Panthers fan. Okay, whatever. You know what I'm saying? I like one team in the NFL. There's a bunch of other teams that are just as dog shit. You know what I'm saying? Everybody either 0-2, 2-0, or 1-1.
Yeah. We can save the season
nothing.
right here.
This ain't nothing. For all the Panther fans that got their heads down.
There are 9 teams that are 0-2
we look
right
dog
now.
shit now. We looked dog shit last year, but we either 0-2. Next week we're gonna be either 1-2.
Or 0-3.
Yeah, either 1 or 2. Or we're gonna be 0-3. Either way, I don't care. This shows me we weren't going to tank. We were not going to tank. We don't have to worry about getting Cam Ward. We're going to probably wait next year, probably get Manning. That's most likely going to happen. We need to draft Travis Hunter. We don't have DBs. We don't have wide receivers. Who can play both? Your answer is Travis Hunter, bro. Like, it's generational talent. I don't care if he plays for Colorado or whatever. God-given talent, we need that. And we need to not give it away. Travis Hunter with Andy Dalton is going to.
I think what sticks out to me for that call is who, is how courageous or how much control does this demonstrate from Dave Canales in making a move that really drops kind of a bombshell into not only the Carolina Panthers plans for development going forward, but also it kind of sends shockwaves through discussions of their choices they've made in the past. One of the things that Dean Jones, who writes for Cat Crave, has a story up right now on Cat Crave. Dave Canales prevented the locker room mutiny by benching Bryce Young. And let me see. Oh, we're all fighting over control here. He quoted Joe Person in this, and it's all we got here is this is like, and I guess I'm reading this because I want to know why is it that the decision was made and who made the decision. Joe Person from The Athletic said, I think we had a situation where guys were kind of looking around at each other in the locker room. Adam Thielen very publicly threw a sideline tantrum. The quarterback sets the tone for the whole organization. And it was just wasn't a good energy emanating from Bryce Young in the early going. How much do the losing the locker room, and the potential of that, does this factor into it? And how much really, David Tepper had to okay this?
No, I don't think so. To be truly honest with you, I think Canales said, "Fuck you. You've ruined this team for the last 6 years. I'm taking over, and I'm going to do this."
That's not what he said in his press conference.
That's not what he said in his press conference, of course.
Press conference, he said.
But I guarantee you, no. I think Canales.
He said, "I looked at a tape. A thought got in my head. I immediately contacted Dan Morgan and Brant Tillis. Yeah. And we had discussions. I talked with other coaches.
Here, I have
about
the clip.
And
let's
not
play
David Tepper.
Let's play
didn't
the
say
clip.
David Tepper.
Actually, let's hear him talk about this.
Yeah, let's hear him about David Tepper and his involvement, and then we'll respond after.
I want to keep that private.
I want to keep that private.
This is something after I watched the film, I looked at it, had a thought, on talking to the guys that we make decisions with. Certainly a lot of parties involved there. And ultimately this comes on me, and my number one responsibility is to help the Panthers win. And so this move, I believe it's the best chance to do that this week.
Dave, what were you
So that's it. Go ahead.
I'm telling you, I think Canales said, "Fuck you, Tepper. I'm taking over. You can fire me if you want to, because I have guaranteed money regardless. And if you want to lose games, keep losing games. But I want to win games for the Panthers." I like Canales for this right here. I love his press conference after this. I love what he said. I think he gave Tepper a big fuck you. I'm going to do what I think is best for the Panthers.
We also have no doubt that David Tepper did talk with Dave Canales. There's no doubt in my mind.
Why is there no doubt? Why is there no doubt, though? Just out of curiosity, what gives you reason to believe he said that?
Yeah, he said, I'm not going to, it basically said, I'm not going to comment on that.
So why does that mean that he talked to them about it?
Because he would say,
I'm not saying it was a marching order type of deal. I'm saying that they definitely spoke to one another. And I also think that David Tepper sees all the people leaving in the middle of the third quarter and says, yeah, do whatever you feel you need to do if Andy Dalton gives us the best chance to win. Like, I feel like David Tepper now, since he's the big bad boogeyman of the Carolina Panthers, now every single thing that goes wrong, everyone's first instinct is to blame David Tepper. But if I recall correctly, before we drafted Bryce Young, everyone in the media was saying that, oh no, they let Fitterer and Frank Reich have their say so. They let the football people made the football decisions. But now all of a sudden, David Tepper
Not all
is
of a
all
sudden.
over
This
it.
has been a narrative
Well,
that's
I've been saying that
and we've
David Tepper
believed that
selected Bryce Young.
his fingerprints are on everything in some sort. And we talked about this as like he might not have told them who, but he let his feelings know. And there was a lot about keeping this guy happy along the way. We'll take another call and then we'll go back to Sal Palantonio because he has some comments. Because I'm interested. Do you think that Bryce Young is done in the NFL? And not done as in won't be on a roster, stuff like that. But will he ever see meaningful playing time going forward on any team? And can he be successful under those right circumstances that a lot of people are discussing? Let's go to Anthony in Charlotte.
What's up, C3? It's Anthony from Charlotte. Excuse me. Hope y'all boys are having a good Tuesday. Yeah, man. Really tough times right now. Bryce Young looks like it's in the end of the era, and I mean, it didn't even last 2 years. Like, it's crazy to me. I don't know. Like, if you're David Tepper, you got to be shooting yourself in the fucking foot, man. It's just embarrassing. And I just have a question. Like, do the Panthers organization, do they know what they're doing? I mean, the answer is no, obviously. But I look at Dave Canales, too, and Dan Morgan, like, why would you cut Leota, the leading sack leader? I don't know. I just don't know what this plan is. You know, Dave Canales says after the first week, it's going to take a while for us to be us. And then you say Bryce is our quarterback. And then you bench him. This is what it sounds like to me. And granted, yeah, we know Bryce has not been playing good at all. But this is what it sounds like to me. And y'all can tell me if you believe this or not. My theory is this. It was reported that Dave and Dan and Brant Tillis made the decision to bench Bryce. I do believe that. I do believe Tom Pelissero and the other guys, Adam Schefter, when they say that, I do believe that. I don't believe David Tepper wanted Bryce Young benched, obviously, because he wants his investment to play. But what I do think factored into this was Dave Canales made the move, and David Tepper said, all right.
Yes,
well,
I agree.
You better win fucking games or your job's on the line. And I think that's where we are now. I think I honestly think the goal of this season from the front office perspective to the fans is like, hey, can we not go 2-15 like last year? Like, can we try to double that? Like, that's all it is at this point. And all this mumbo jumbo, it's just like, man, I don't know who is telling this team. Like, it's like almost like Canales speaks the truth. Like, this is going to take time. Dan Morgan in the offseason, he said it's going to take time. But then he said some shit about a retool. Like, no. Like, see, I don't know. Like, the main issue I have with this organization at this point is, like, there's no plan. They don't stick to anything. And Bryce Young is done. But where do you go from here? I mean, I don't know. I'm kind of too scared to drop another rookie quarterback in. I don't know, to be honest. It's a clusterfuck. It's only week 2. Give me some therapy. Anthony from Charlotte, keep motherfucking pounding.
Keep pounding.
I think David Tepper, and I saw somebody in the comments say this earlier, is that David Tepper may not have wanted this to happen, as in this was not ideal. I don't think anybody wanted this to happen. But I think even David Tepper recognized that it's not working, right? It's not working. And so you have clear I mean, it's just it's so regressed, and we should be relegated. I think this is, you know how they say Bryce's footwork has gotten worse and stuff like this, happy feet. I think, and I also have talked about how he needs to step into the pocket and grip it and rip it. He's too short.
Yes.
He can't step into the pocket and grip. When he does a 3-step drop, he comes back and he hops up and down. This is from my friend. This is Sean's take. Up and down as his 3 steps, not because he's got happy feet. He is trying to find people over the line.
Yeah, and by the way, there's a bunch of different talent evaluators on YouTube. Chase Daniel, JT O'Sullivan, almost to a man, every single one of them say no other quarterback throws the ball like Bryce Young. He's never has his back foot firmly planted into the ground, ready to drive and throw the ball. He's always throwing from his tippy toes. He just does not have the proper mechanics to be able to operate the offense. Well, it's like, look, there have been other short quarterbacks before, but it's important to remember that he is the smallest in both height and weight. He is the smallest quarterback ever drafted.
And Kyler Murray has a missile.
But Kyler Murray also can run the ball.
And he's a former baseball player. And then you think of this as trying to think of some other quarterbacks that have had. Drew Brees, by the way, you know, Nick Saban moved on from Drew Brees when he was at Miami. I think it was.
Drew Brees got traded from the Chargers too.
Yeah. And so when in college,
he
Drew
failed
Brees,
the physical and they decided not to sign him.
yeah, but they because he thought he was too small in some ways. That's one thing that it matters. It matters in the NFL. And the poor comparison to a guy like Drew Brees, and it gets exhausted.
It's just because it's short. That's it.
And Drew Brees wasn't a number 1 overall pick, and he wasn't great. He was good. Actually, had more success than Bryce ever had at any when he was with the Chargers. But you don't bet that high on someone who lacks that they can be Drew Brees.
Right.
Yeah.
You don't do that. You don't look. Even Tom Brady is like they didn't bet on him to be. He became the best.
Right.
Bryce was simply put overdrafted.
And look, I don't care if the Panthers don't win another game this season. Okay, I'm really saying this. I don't care. All I want is for my game not to be over by the end of the first quarter.
Oh gosh.
Okay. I want to be able to watch a game and feel like we have a chance. If we lose at the end of the game by a field goal or we've been competitive the whole time, I'm cool with that. I just want to feel like I'm watching an NFL team on the field.
Yeah.
And I have not felt that in years. That is what I need right now. We've got to win the fan base back. We've got to be competitive again and actually look like a
But we've been saying that. I said that last year. I said that this year. That's all we want.
Yeah. You're right. But everybody thought Bryce was going to give us that.
Do you know how embarrassing that is to just say we don't want to win at all or even have a chance to win?
It's not that I don't want to win.
We just want to make it so that there's a reason to watch the television rather than not.
A lot of people, whenever I bring this up, they get pissed at me and tell me to move on. But I'm going to keep saying it anyway because it's important context. The original plan was to move up to number 2 for CJ Stroud. Because the Houston Texans, and the Chicago Bears, they were going to swap spots. Texans were going to go to 1, Chicago would go to 2, and then from there,
we still could have picked Stroud though.
Was going to go back to no. But you're missing my point. There was a moment in time when this organization was dead set on drafting CJ Stroud. At some point in time, that changed. When the Panthers said, you know what? No, we're going to go up to the number 1 overall pick. In my mind, this is when David Tepper said, you know what? We're not going to go up to number 1 and not take the quote unquote consensus number 1 quarterback.
It really wasn't consensus. I hated how I thought that was lazy. overall. That everybody was just like Bryce. Here's Sal Paolantonio, though, on what this means for the Carolina Panthers in that context, as well as Bryce in the NFL.
Wrong at the top of the draft with your quarterback, it sets you back 3 to 5 years. It just does. Now, Andy Dalton is serviceable in the interim if you can try to fix Bryce Young, but I don't know if he can play at the NFL level. And I said that when he was drafted. I was very skeptical about it because of his size, his ability to see over the rush, his ability, you have to create.
So I don't think we didn't listen to that already, did we? We may have. I feel like I've already heard that clip once.
Well, yeah, we brought it.
He's saying this is he doesn't, but there's a guy who's saying I don't believe he can be successful in the NFL.
Yeah, but
I don't think he can either.
No,
I'm sorry.
I don't have a reason to believe, right, that he can right now. Let's go back to Anthony real quick.
Yeah.
Hey, C3, it's Anthony again. Just I forgot to add this, so hopefully you still play the call. But shout out to Big John. Glad he's back doing content. Panthers content is better when John's around. Glad he's doing good. Shout out to you, John, from Carolina. He brought this up today, and I've been saying this too. I am worried that I'm at the point where, there's fans saying, oh, tank for Arch in 2026. Just tank this season for Shedeur Sanders. At what point do these fathers of their sons look at this team and say, I don't want my son playing for the Carolina Panthers? At what point do we have players pulling Eli Manning? It's that bad. And I just think they're going to look around the league and say, y'all gave up on your rookie quarterback after 18 games, 2 starts into the second season. Thought Canales was supposed to, help this guy. It's a bad look, man, whether you, were a believer in Bryce or not. He's obviously not the answer. But, I thought this season was going to be about, trying to build Bryce up. And I don't know, man. I don't know where we go from here. Those are just my final thoughts. That's something to really think about, man. That's how low we are as an organization. I'm glad David Tepper's kid's playing today. Anthony from Charlotte.
This is a recognition. This is a recognition, or at least the statement that they don't believe they can build Bryce up right now. Well, not only does he have PTSD, they're not seeing how they can coach him out of this PTSD. And the only way to have any sentiment of pride in this season as an organization, it would be a disservice to the other players.
And on that point, it's not fair to the other players on this team,
right,
to not give them a competitive chance.
Yeah.
If you can look at this player and say he is not where he's at right now, I'm not saying Bryce is a total bust, even though I think he is. I'm not saying Bryce can never be successful anywhere else, or he can't be successful with the Panthers in the future. Right now, he does not give us the best competitive chance to win games, and it is not fair to everybody else on that team that you're paying to play to not give them a chance to win.
Contracts. They're hoping to get jobs next year.
It's not fair to them, man. Yeah.
Yeah, I 100% agree. And by the way, when it comes to the quarterback thing, it's so early to be talking about it, but you best believe everybody says this shit, and it's the bane of my existence. Oh, it's not a good quarterback class. It's not a good quarterback class. Sorry, you don't fucking know that yet. You just don't. Cam Ward looks good. Quinn Ewers is looking good.
And
there are players that are going to be there.
I know. They're going to go
By the way,
nuts.
if it's Manning or Shedeur Sanders that are telling us that they don't want to come here, I don't fucking want them. Because that believes that they don't believe in themselves enough to go to any fucking team and ball out.
That's why I miss Cam. I miss Cam so bad.
I've moved into a position now where I don't think you should take a quarterback number 1 overall.
No. Agreed.
I think if you have the number 1 overall pick, you should find a way to get out of that spot. Because if Bryce was a 22nd pick, we wouldn't have put this pressure on him to start right away to turn the franchise around, and he could have had the expectations. And I've said this for years: is for number 1 pick or bust or boom. There's no in between, and so you put so much on a quarterback. And just think about this: tell me number 1 picks at quarterbacks that have worked And you
Not
know
that
what?
many.
I'll tell you more that haven't. The last one. Think of the last one. Joe Burrow. Right? What about before that?
Kyler Murray.
I can't even say he's worked entirely. I mean, the Cardinals were thinking about getting rid of him at one point.
He won an MVP, but he's been pretty hit and done a whole
He got
lot
an
since then, to
MVP?
be honest with you.
Damn.
Yeah, Kyler Murray did, yeah.
No, Kyler Murray, he never won the MVP.
I thought he won MVP like
No.
4 years ago.
I think he might have won offensive player, rookie
offensive player of the year. Okay.
One of those. But by
You're
the way,
talking,
I
you're
just
talking
wanna say,
Cam Newton.
I'm not even
You're talking
saying that,
Andy. I mean, the last one is the one before that would have right after Cam. What's his name? Andrew Luck.
By
There's
the way,
too much
all I'm
pressure.
saying- yeah, but all I'm saying is it's too late to say either yes or no. Because my entire point is, even if you signed Andy Dalton for another year next year, and you did get a Quinn Ewers or a Jalen Milroe or a Cam Ward, and guys that do have that incredible physical talent and continue to build the team, all those things matter, man. It's too early to say right now where we'll be picking and what types of other holes that are going to be glaring on this roster at the end of the year.
I
It's
think
too
we
early
pick at
to
3.
tell.
If we move from 1 to 3, and then can pick again at 8 or 13, I think you pick a high end player at 3, and then you pick a guy at 13 at quarterback who is a first round talent, but you don't have to say it's all you or nothing. You know, you can go in there and he can win the job naturally. He can have it so that you're not. The expectation for a number 1 overall pick has been so inflated for a quarterback. It's almost an impossible. It's a Herculean task.
Well,
And arguably it's a Herculean task that cannot be accomplished unless you are fucking Hercules like Cam Newton.
Especially when you trade to get to that point. There's a big difference. Like getting the natural overall number 1 is different than trading to that spot and getting that to that point. you
And
know?
the players
That's what
that
made
we
it bad.
traded to go up to number 1 is fucking absurd. Hey, real quick, C3 Love Bomb time. Thank you to Ty Black for the $5. Says, I'm over every video. Everyone talking about Bryce doesn't have anyone to throw to. O-line is protecting him, and wide receivers are open. That is the absolute truth. Thank you, Ty. And then to Matao Lomax, says it was supposed to be a 3-way trade. Yeah, I mean, they were working. The Texans were trying to get up to number 1. And the Bears wanted to double dip and go back like how Tony wants us to be able to do next year. That's what the Bears were doing. And again, in my mind, you cannot look at the offense that Frank Reich built last year and tell me that they had Bryce Young in mind to run that offense. Like,
Nope.
don't pick somebody that can tell me the training, bro.
Yeah. And here's the thing, too, with the Texans, they are living proof that you can rebuild a team in a year. They were the natural number 2 pick, and they are now probably going to win that division.
Yeah, the only thing
they are the you can do it in less than a year.
So there's part of that I can agree with, but the other part of me also wants to look at that realistically. When you realize
they
what
were
the
bad for
Texans-
10 years.
No, well that, and you realize the Texans got a freaking ransom
for Deshaun Watson.
for Deshaun Watson, and we don't have a player that's going to give us multiple first round draft picks. You know, it's just not going to happen. And so at the end of the day, I think that this is going to be the long haul. We don't have assets to be able to build up like the Texans did with Deshaun Watson or any of those pieces. And we don't have a second round draft pick that is for a high pick right now, unless the Rams just completely, go completely off the rails and that second round pick that we got from them and ends up being a really high draft pick, but or second round.
Just a reminder, our second round pick in 2025
Is
also
not ours.
belongs to Chicago.
It's not ours. Not ours. That's right. Hey, shout out. Look in the chat. Look, put this next comment up. Roars. You can go to Roars. This is just because cool guy, good Panther fan. You can go to roars.com and get one of these cool roars, right? And help a Panther fan out in a time. Maybe a good gift for somebody that's suffering from Panther
PTSD.
Yeah, is how far does it set you back? These are going to be questions that we have a problem. You know, this is just actually, you know what? Let's do this.
How about this? It's at least 2 or 3 years.
Sean Payton.
It's what?
It's at least 2 or 3 years.
Oh,
Because
easily.
let's say you do what you're saying, or what a lot of people want, and we don't address the quarterback position in the draft. Again, nobody's believing that Andy Dalton is the long-term future for Carolina. So you're going to need to upgrade the position at some point in the future.
Right.
It also, this is one of the reasons why I'm saying y'all cannot outright deny that a quarterback could be on the table for us this next draft.
No, we're not denying that. I just don't. I think the number one overall pick is not
but
the place.
It also depends on who is available to us, because it's one thing to say, get Arch Manning in 2025. One, there's never a guarantee that you're going to be in position to draft a guy that you want in 2 years. And plus, if you have a guy that fits all the criteria of the things that you want to be able to build around at that position for the foreseeable future, dude, you don't want to watch another quarterback go to another organization and ball out somewhere else. And then Panther fans are saying, oh, could have had that guy as well. You just have to let it play out.
Let's go to Chuck in Elizabeth City.
Hey, guys, it's Chuck from Elizabeth City. I know your chat line's getting flooded. I know it's getting flooded. And I got to tell you guys, you need a big thumbs up. All you podcasters need a big thumbs up. Holding on with this team, because it's tough. It is a drama-filled, miserable time to be the worst team in the NFL. It's terrible. And let's go way back and look at one thing. Do you remember when we had like good players, McCaffrey and DJ Moore, and we had Bridgewater, and it was like, oh man, if we can just get the quarterback right. That's all we're missing is the quarterback.
Yeah.
Tepper wasn't patient. Matt Rule didn't know what he was doing. It was always an excuse. And now we have depleted our roster. And we look like we're choosing the wrong quarterback. But I don't even know if we would have chosen Stroud if it would have been the right deal. My point to you is this. Bringing out Andy Dalton in right now, I think everybody realizes it gives us a chance to evaluate the roster before we give any decent players away again. See what we got on the line, see what we got at running back, see what we got at freaking receiver. Get rid of this 3-4 defense. I can't see Evero staying around after this. We've got to rebuild this team. And I don't even think you can do it free agent-wise. Some to a point, yes, but we've got to hit on the draft. We've got to start over. We've got to hold on to Canales. Regardless of whatever, we cannot keep switching and turning coaches. We've got to hold on to the GM. But we have got to find a recipe and a way. I think Bryce is gone. Don't trade him in the NFC. Whatever you do, if it backfires, he ends up being good. You don't want a McCaffrey situation. Not that he will be anything like that. But my point is, we've got to move along. See what we've got on this roster. Start over.
Yeah.
Don't draft a quarterback in this coming draft.
Mm-hmm.
Got to get the best available player at whatever position we can, an impact position. Defensive end, linebacker, or whatever it may be. But we've got to start over. We've got to see what we got on this roster, guys.
So yesterday, I got the news. I got a text from a friend of mine, and he said, "Special C3 Panthers podcast tonight?" ? And I said, "Why? What happened?" He said, "Bryce got bent." Right, and that's I found out from that text, and then I started getting on stuff. I was interested, I was trying to distract myself from the misery of being a Panther fan on Monday morning. And I saw him later that evening, and they asked, and it was, I think the hardest part for me was a short-term sadness that had to do with the complete disarray or debacle that this has become so quickly, with having a number 1 overall pick. And then ultimately it seems like even the people that made that pick realized that it's not working. But to Chuck's point, or at least the call made me think of this moment, there was a weight that's been lifted upon me tonight as I just think of not playing that same fucking shit over.
Dude, I meant it when I opened the show with it. I'm excited about next Sunday, dude. We're going to talk about this. Andy Dalton is 3-0 against the Las Vegas Raiders.
But he's going against one of my heroes.
It's not only that. Andy Dalton's stats for his career, he's a fantastic
I don't want to hear
quarterback. He's a Hall of Fame. He's a Hall of Fame quarterback.
He's not a Hall of Fame.
He has almost 40. He got drafted the same year as Cam Newton.
No, he was
has
the year
almost
after
40.
Cam.
No, 2011, same year as Cam. He has almost 40,000 yards, 246 touchdowns, and 144 interceptions.
I swear he was drafted in.
Listen, same year as Cam. He is almost Hall of Fame numbers.
Hall of Famer or not, he threw for almost 400 yards the last time that we saw him on the Panthers. And by the way, that was with the worst wide receiving core last year that all of us had agreed that we have upgraded this year with Deontay Johnson and Xavier Leggett. So I'm legit serious that I don't think our season is over. I mean, I'm not saying that we're going to make a fucking playoff push here.
No, but we can win 4 games, 4 or 5 games. Yeah.
There's no reason why Andy Dalton can't go in there. And hell, look at what Joe Flacco did for the Browns last year.
Agreed.
Off the bench, came in. All they needed was someone mature enough and poised enough to run that offense. And look what happened.
What happens if the Panthers do look significantly more competent with Andy? What is that? How does that affect Bryce Young's future?
That's a morale. But one, I think.
Is that a dagger? Is that a dagger that says it even worse? It would almost be good for the Panthers to not be that, to be barely good.
Well, no,
for Bryce.
I disagree. I think winning is the only good thing that the Panthers.
No, I'm talking about for Bryce's career. What Bryce would, because I think if the Carolina Panthers come out and have any modicum of success, it's just more it's just piling dirt on the grave.
Mm-hmm. If Dalton comes out and throws for 250 yards and 2 touchdowns and 1 interception, Bryce is done. If Dalton comes out and throws for 86 yards and an interception like Bryce does every fucking week, then
we go, maybe Bryce has a life in the future.
This is a litmus test right here. This is a test to show whether it was Bryce that was the problem or the team that's the problem. And I can almost guarantee you it's going to be Bryce that was the problem.
Yeah, I agree. So one, not only do I want that to be the case, I want Dalton to be better, but also number 2, that should put you at ease saying, hey, if Carolina did bring in another quarterback that can grow and learn, and if you have someone serviceable like Dalton in the interim, that yes, this team isn't just cursed and dead on arrival. You just made the wrong pick at quarterback. To me, if you're a Panther fan, that should be a sigh of relief that it wasn't the organization, that it wasn't everyone else, that it was just the quarterback being the wrong pick.
Best case scenario. I agree.
All right, let's go to the next call.
Hi guys, it's been ages. Still listening in from time to time.
Rich, how are you, brother?
It makes it harder nowadays. But love what you do. Love you guys. You know that. Just thought I'd weigh in on the absolute shit show at the start of this season. I'm all for benching Bryce. Gave him full support, but there's nothing. I'm not seeing anything there. Don't know what everybody thinks, but there's no flashes. I mean, Will Levis is getting killed by some people, but God, at least there's an arm. Bryce just hasn't got anything. It's just the experiment is he's too small. The only other small person like that is Kyler, and Kyler runs at 100 miles an hour, and no one can touch him. But Bryce just hasn't got it. Think of other sports. So it's the step up. I think we've hit a point where he just can't play at the next level. If you've ever played sport, if some of your listeners, the only one that you guys would know that I can think of, sort of, is Tyler Hansborough. You'd know that from UNC basketball, who never made it really as a pro, but was totally dominant in college, and it happens a lot. You know, you get the big, he was a great. Well, look, we let go of Caleb on Chason, who was an edge rusher from LSU, first rounder. He couldn't step up. It happens. People just find their ceiling. I don't think we've done, pressured on 4 dropbacks. Everything's just not there. Just not there. So let's move on. I'd rather see 6 or 7 wins with Dalton this season than have to sit through that again.
Yes.
I've been switching off from watching Red Zone by half time last 2 games. It's just absolutely painful. You can't evaluate the rest of the team. You can't tell me whether Leggett and Mingo are worth another. Is Mingo worth another season? Because no one's throwing him the ball. Sanders. Really. We talk about our tight ends being crap. Let's give Sanders a chance as someone that can at least find him. But no, Bryce is done. I think Bryce is done completely. I don't see what he's going to offer. He probably makes a fantastic coach. But no, he's done. National narratives around the Panthers, absolutely horrible as usual. I wonder if they're that bad on all the other teams, but they obviously haven't been watching them. But this idea that Baker and Darnold, it was just the Panthers. I mean, different regime, different lines. Baker threw into the O-line a million times, but was screwed over because he came in late. Darnold's only had 2 games. He'll be fine for another game, and then it'll all go pear-shaped for him. So anyway, guys, keep it up. Still watching, and take care. Keep pounding.
Keep pounding. Yeah, listen, that certainly just adds more alcohol to the wound to make it burn even worse. That there are 3 quarterbacks who had ties to the Carolina Panthers that are out there balling out, right? One, the quarterback that you could have had in the form of CJ Stroud, who is still looking just like he did last season. You have Sam Darnold, who's looking like he's finally tapped into that talent that had him be the 3rd overall pick, who was here in Carolina. And Greg CK, I know you can vouch for me. I said that when Steve Wilkes was here and down the stretch, Sam Darnold didn't look too fucking bad, dude.
No.
He was getting the ball to DJ Moore, to Robbie Anderson. We were running the ball effectively.
Chosen, not Robbie Anderson.
Yeah,
Chosen. Yeah.
And now it's Robbie Chosen. He's changed it again. So how stupid. But yeah, like the Panthers could have done worse than Sam Darnold. You look at Baker Mayfield, everybody contributed all his success to Dave Canales being the offensive coordinator, and he's still balling out, still getting the ball to Mike Evans, still looking good. So again, boys, this is just like pouring salt on the wound for the Panthers right now. That not only are we struggling so mightily, but now we're watching other quarterbacks that used to be with the Panthers actually do something and live their best life. And I'll be damned if it's not depressing.
All right, let's take another call.
Hey, C3, this is your girl, Kristen Butler.
Hey,
All I got to say is simply this. This season is already off the rails, y'all. David Tepper must love being in the headlines, and not for the great good reasons why Panthers should. No, it wasn't good enough for him to be in the headlines for firing a head coach and after 7 games. No. Let's just after week 2 loss, bench your quarterback we traded everyone for. And not only that, after his rookie season, we take a hit to our defense to help him. But let's also not play this quarterback hardly during preseason. What was it, like 2.5 minutes against the Bills' second, third string defense? Like, I'm not taking away that Bryce Young has gotten worse, but why haven't they answered the question of like why? It's not all entirely Bryce. There's more to it than that. And I don't know, y'all. It's just wow. I was expecting, week 5 or whatever, considering benching this guy. And, I called Sunday being frustrated, but week 2 after week 2, damn. Anyways, Carolina Panthers have officially entered the Twilight Zone. Give me your thoughts.
How about in
Keep pounding, y'all.
good news, or at least for me, is Brian Burns has 7 tackles and no sacks.
Yeah, that's the one thing we can feel happy about. The Giants overpaid Brian Burns $30 million a year, and not us. So
what's another thing is I
King
was
of
looking through the Bryce Young stories, and one of them that popped up on ESPN was who's in contention for the number 1 pick, the Panthers or the Giants? And I was just, let's go to Muscles.
We played them in Germany too. Yeah.
Oh man.
I want to play.
Poor Germans. Germans are not going to like football at all. They have to watch that game. Remember we talked about how expensive the tickets were too? And then they're looking at this like they paid. This is a lesson learned, folks. For the Carolina Panthers, you buy your tickets at the last minute until they're better. There's no reason to buy tickets early and in advance. You should just buy them the day of the game until we win a game.
Dude, somebody said that the Panthers home games are like international games because you see every jersey accounted for and represented
just
in the stands.
Board.
Yeah, they're
going to rename the Panthers Giants game in Germany to the Toilet Bowl.
Gosh. All right, let's go to our Paisan.
Paisans, Goombas. How the fuck you doing? It's a beautiful Tuesday evening over here. Raining. Kind of fucking miserable.
Appreciate your
honestly.
message, by the way.
Anyway,
Muscles.
so the inevitable happened, huh? Bryce Young got benched for Andy Dalton. I know a lot of people wanted that to happen. They wanted to see that happen. Well, it happened. Can't say I blame him, but honestly, it feels like another fucking knee jerk-off reaction. This fucking jerk-off, fucking management, ownership, whatever you want to call it. I don't know, bro. These fucking guys. The Teppers could have managed a fucking Kmart. I think there's one left. I think. I don't know. Don't quote me on that. But still, like, I guess Andy Dalton gives us a shot. That's cool. But all in all, ownership, management, all the way down, we have become the laughing stock in sports, not just football, not the NFL, fucking sports, bro. This fucking Canadian football team's managed better than this shit show. It's fucking garbage. But hey, at least we got a new quarterback. Now the red rifle. I guess it's hunting season now, boys. You know what I'm saying? Hey, maybe we see like 200 plus yards and a touchdown throw.
Let's hope he's not the rusty rifle.
Fuck, I don't even remember the last time we saw that. I don't know. Last 2 weeks of last season, we got shut out, right? That's when Tepper threw a hissy fit and threw a drink on a fan. Oy vey. All right, boys. Love you guys. I gotta go.
Man, appreciate you. You know, it's the line was at 7.5, and when they announced that Andy Dalton would be starting, it moved to 5.5.
Yeah, as it should, dude. Vegas knows. Vegas is not in the business of being wrong. So yeah, they know. And Tony, I wanted to go to something that we had put in the slide. Now we're asking, like, is he the worst bust of all time?
He's in the names of Jamarcus Russell. He's in the conversation.
Zach Wilson.
They actually had more success.
Jamarcus Russell?
Yeah, Trey Lance. Yeah, Zach Wilson no longer the worst recent quarterback bust after Bryce Young benching. While Wilson has made his mark as one of the worst picks in NFL history, Young has somehow topped him. In just 18 games, only 2 of which he won by 15-13 and 9-7 score lines, respectively. The Panthers have already made the shocking decision to bench him.
Go on to the next. Yeah, here we go. Wilson, who it went just 12 for 21 as the Jets starter, has Young beat in every category except completion percentage, which he says can be manipulated with a conservative offense. I think just basically last week, Bryce probably was what he did in this last week's game helped his completion. It was like 17 for 20, right. Just only had 88 yards. Wilson has thrown for more passing yards per game, has had better touchdown interception ratio, and earned a better passing rating than Young. So you're talking about Wilson in the conversation. You're talking about Trey Lance. You're talking about Josh Rosen. You're talking about, well, he wasn't number over one. He's in the conversation right now. People are considering him. And really, the consideration for the draft bust isn't him alone as a pick but you have to factor in, like Greg said earlier, what you gave up to get Bryce, which added more to the risk stock, right? You had more investment costs in that pick than just the number
which
one.
Which made it just an extra layer of he needed like a level of like pressure on him to be a successful quarterback. Like, here's the thing. I think that he was going to be considered a bust. So one of the things I said when the Browns traded for Deshaun Watson is I said, if they don't make the Super Bowl in the next 3 years, that was possibly the worst trade in the history of the NFL, right? I said that was the level of that trade, especially with the guaranteed contract. I was going to say they lost one of the worst things that ever in the history of any team in the NFL. If Bryce Young came in and he played average quarterback play, and he wasn't like the reason we were losing, but he certainly wasn't. If he was Teddy Bridgewater for us, that would have still been in the same category of because of what we gave up for him. If we weren't in a Super Bowl within his rookie season, a rookie contract, it was going to be a bust, and no matter what. So, but that's just the nature of it. When you're giving up 2 first-round draft picks, a DJ Moore, who was a first-round draft pick as well, and you're giving up a second round that's going to be considered a pretty high draft pick as of right now. I mean, you're giving up a crap ton for this guy. Anything less than elite was going to be a bust.
Yeah, and I agree with what you're saying right there, but I just want to preface this and say that you are comparing him to Teddy Bridgewater. That's the guy that is the low bar that he had to accomplish.
And we hated Teddy Bridgewater.
Like okay, so we're saying this guy had to meet Teddy Bridgewater standards to be considered not a bust.
No. I think he's saying what he's saying is he would still be considered a bust even if he was serviceable. And that is what comes with the number 1 overall pick is they have to be either great or they're not. If they're not great, they are a bust. And then you inflated that pressure, like CK is saying, even more because it's not just the number 1 overall pick. You hedged all your bets. And you know what? People in Jacksonville are thinking this way.
Yeah, but
they didn't trade up for Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah, but they've made it to the playoffs, the last 2 years?
No.
By the way, Trevor has a ton of drops every time.
No, he looks terrible right now, dude. He looks horrible right now. He is the reason they're losing right now.
Nah, that's not
you haven't watched the games then. You haven't watched the games then.
I've been listening to
he took a safety, dude. Look, he holds on to. I'm telling you, he has not played anywhere close to good.
Right.
Not at all. And if you can't say because you haven't watched it because he has played terribly, dude. He's been awful.
But if Bryce Young would have played as well as Trevor Lawrence, and I'm not saying Trevor Lawrence played great, if Bryce Young would have put up Trevor Lawrence numbers,
right,
would we be a little happier right now?
Yes. Yeah, but Trevor Lawrence has also had a bad situation. But look, the whole point is that either Trevor Lawrence has to be great or he is a bust.
Agreed.
Any first overall pick has to be great or is a bust. At quarterback. Yes. Let's go to Chase from Anderson.
Well, I did want to play.
What's up, guys, this is Chase from Anderson. What's up, fellas? I guess the word of the podcast is about Bryce being benched for Andy Dalton. How much does it help? It gives us a chance to stay in the games. The defense is still going to be trashed. But I want to talk about Caleb Williams. Build and hyped up for this generational franchise team changing quarterback.
Come on,
man. And it's more than just one off season. It's for a couple years now. And he comes in the league. People say, the Bears are going to be a contender because of Caleb Williams.
They're one game out of first
The dude's
place.
not much
in the
better
league.
than Bryce Young.
That's all I'm saying.
You know what do I hear people say? The same lame excuses, including me, that gave Bryce Young last year. The exact same excuses.
That is fair.
No.
Well,
I bet $1,000 right
giving
now.
that kind of excuses
I'll
for that kind of player, man, whatever. And yeah.
Thanks for the call.
I bet
Cody, you had
$1,000 right now. Caleb Williams will not be benched his second game of his second season.
Oh, that part.
Like,
I'm
I
not
bet
going to disagree
$1,000
on.
right now, and not because of the situation, because he will not play as bad as Bryce Young.
Great, we got it.
Oh, you can hear it?
Bringing a
I
new-
thought
Yeah.
Hold on.
Greg, I don't disagree. I think he will still be the starter next year, but it is what he's saying. It is a fair point that Caleb Williams is not. The Bears fans are giving him the exact same excuses that they're giving that we gave Bryce Young last
You
year.
have to until you quit giving the excuses. You have to give the excuses. until
Caleb
you
won
quit.
his second game.
No, he didn't win shit. He had 98 passing yards. They didn't score.
Bryce does that almost every week.
But by the
I know,
way,
he did.
Caleb Williams, the difference between Caleb Williams and Bryce is Caleb has this pompous attitude that he has that makes him look and feel like he's better than everyone else. Did y'all see CJ Stroud tried to talk to him after the game and like give him encouragement? And he was trying to get away from him. Like, he did not want to hear shit that CJ Stroud was talking about. He comes off like an entitled prick, and no one deserves that more than the fucking Bears. I'll tell you that. But by the way, this is Jake Delhomme talking about if Bryce Young is in that same echelon of Zach Wilson and Jamarcus Russell. This is him on the Clubhouse with Kyle Bailey. Tell me if you can hear it.
Is there still a chance to get him right at some point?
Absolutely. Listen, the first thing that I thought of yesterday, and you think of the Zach Wilson deal, but to me, that was just a different baby in itself. The New York deal and everything surrounding it. I went back, and I haven't had a chance to speak with him yet. I'm going to speak with him probably tomorrow with Matt Hasselbeck. When Matt Hasselbeck left Green Bay and he went to Seattle, he got given the keys to the organization, and he got him a little contract there. And I remember he got benched for the latter part of 01 or 02, somewhere in there. He got benched for Trent Dilfer, and he got benched so he could catch his breath. And Trent was at that point of his career. Trent had won a Super Bowl. Trent had done very well financially, whatever it may be. And I think Matt needed to catch his breath. And that's why I wanted to speak with him. But he was in Seattle, and he was taking a red eye back last night. And I wanted to ask him about it. I just haven't had a chance yet. And that worked out perfectly for Matt. You know, because I can't give you the answer why. And I tried reading today, and some of the things I found out an article from back then. And he just said, listen, it was handed to me. And I thought I had all the answers because I was around Brett Favre and I saw what he did. He goes, and I just did. And he said it was awful for me. It was a rough experience. But in essence, he said, I'm thankful because it hardened me and it got me where I needed to be. I'm hopeful this is the same case.
All right. So Jay Delhomme is saying that maybe this is just Bryce needing to take a breath and to take a step back. I mean, listen.
Yeah, but that happens. It could happen with a different organization.
Yeah. But again, we're also factoring in the first overall pick, trading up to get him. But there is some truth to what Delhomme is saying. And also, like, Bryce Young is not dead, and he is still a member of the Carolina Panthers.
I didn't like how Canales talked about it today, though, or yesterday when they asked him, like, what does he need to do to get, and he was just like, he's just got to come to work and be on his P's and Q's. Like that was what Bryce always does, right? So why you even, I think Bryce is hurt.
Yeah, I mean, I've also been a proponent that if it only
he needs to get laid. That's what I think. He needs to lose his virginity.
Dude, if it takes one season,
he's got to lose that backpack
to
first.
break you as a starting quarterback, you were probably never a starting quarterback in the first place, man.
Somebody in the comments mentioned Mel Kiper, and I got a clip I wanted to play from Mel Kiper today.
Mel Kiper went nuts today on Bryce.
There
Young.
it is.
Or on the Bryce Young deal, yeah.
I don't hear it if you're playing it.
You don't hear it now?
It's because he doesn't want to be wrong. That's the only reason Mel Kiper did it, because he didn't want to be wrong.
I muted the wrong thing now. Before I had the wrong one click. All right.
right? Bring in a new pass game coordinator, new quarterback coach for Bryce Young. Then we don't play him in the preseason. We play him one series in the final preseason game against the AOGs. None of those guys are playing for Buffalo, by the way. They went one series down the field, and they're rah-rah. Great, we got it. We accomplished everything we wanted to. I'll give you a little note. C.J. Stroud played in 2 preseason games this year. Okay, he played 4. Derek Carr played in 2 preseason games. Why? Because Clint Kubiak was coming in with a new offense, and Derek Carr is a veteran, played in 2 preseason games. Bryce Young played one series of a final preseason game against the nobodies on defense for the Buffalo Bills. Does that make sense to you? When in 2 games in, we're saying he can't play? Yes, his confidence was shattered, right? Yes, he does need to sit behind Andy Dalton for a little bit. But to blame this on Bryce Young is ridiculous. This is the blame here goes to the organization, the owner, for handling this young quarterback.
This is where he lost
Mel
me.
Kiper is bullshit.
Everything's there.
Mel Kiper's picks are bullshit. I can pick better than he can.
Yeah,
Well,
but
also,
I
like,
think
why
though
does
is that
Bryce
what I
Young-
like. Go ahead.
Why does Bryce Young take no culpability
Right.
for how bad he is?
Because Mel Kiper
Well,
doesn't
how
want to be wrong.
fucking
That's all
dumb.
there is to it.
To every other bust that there's ever been, they don't ever give the grace that Bryce Young has been given. Not Trey Lance, not Zach Wilson, not Matt Jones, not Justin Fields. None of them have been given the. Dude, they are all like pariahs.
Cody, hold on.
The
You've
minute
got to.
they don't work out.
That statement is so incredible. Bryce Young has been given grace by 2 or 3 media pundits in the entire national media, and we are literally latching on to a select few. I promise you, go and pull go to NFL, go to ESPN, go to every single other sports network, and tell me somebody who's giving Bryce Young any grace. There's
I'll do
not.
it. Last year, he got all the grace.
No.
That's
That's not what I'm talking about. Every single rookie
Ochocinco.
quarterback gets grace their first year. Every single one. You will not be able to go back and look at any other rookie quarterback and see anything other than grace being given to that quarterback because of the circumstances they were.
So you're talking.
Yes, they were.
CK, you're talking about
Or
2 games then. CK, you're talking about 2 games in which we rebuilt the offense.
No.
The offensive line. No, hold on.
I am not saying.
We rebuilt the offensive line. We got a new coach. We got a new scheme. We got new wide receivers.
Greg,
we got everything new to build around him.
Greg, you're taking this argument to a completely different. I am telling you that they're not giving him grace this year. Like the argument that Cody's getting pissed off because Mel Kiper is in Bryce's corner here. I'm telling you, as a whole, on the nation stage, 90% of media pundits are not giving him grace. They know this is on Bryce Young. That is all I am stating. I am not defending Bryce Young. To argue anything other than the national media is against Bryce Young and seeing what this offense has been is absolutely asinine. You're just latching onto one media pundit's words and saying that everybody's giving him grace, and it's not the fact.
I'm also talking about all of last season when you had everyone saying that there was no way to properly evaluate Bryce Young. It wasn't true then. It wasn't even true then. And yes, Mel Kiper is the loudest of them, but Chad Ochocinco, Shannon Sharp, Mina Kimes, a bunch of people have been very, very, very gracious to Bryce, and they're quick to say, oh, well, the Panthers just didn't do enough for him. And yeah, last year wasn't the best, but
last year was untenable.
There's this apologizing for Bryce that I feel doesn't happen for any other quarterback that was drafted as high as him. Like they
Daniel
wanted to pull for the little fella.
I don't think there is apologizing this year, like CK saying, because they went ahead and they're pulling the plug at this point.
I'm telling you that every rookie quarterback that is in this league always gets the benefit of the doubt in the eyes of the media, because here's the deal. The fans start to turn on them immediately, especially Zach Wilson. When you're in New Jersey or New York, they turn on you so quickly that everybody starts to, like, the media are like, you got to give him time. You got to give him an opportunity to be great. That first year, the only reason that we're mad is because we see what every other team has. And we see that CJ Stroud was in our grasp, and we're seeing that happened, and that makes this so much more painful. And so
he's the most successful rookie quarterback since ever.
But it's not even CJ Stroud. It's CJ Stroud. It's AR-15. It's not Will
AR-15.
Levis.
I would have liked
AR-15. Anthony Richardson is way more successful than Bryce Young.
I'm not saying he doesn't, but you can't.
Even Will Levis looks better than Bryce Young.
I wanted to go to the comment.
Garbage.
I wanted to go to the comment that Mel Kiper made about playing the preseason, though. And I know that you said, like, we've been in debates about that, but I think there's a couple of things you could have thought. You could have, maybe the Panthers had this concern in the already about Bryce Young, about his ability to play. And that was some of the, like, hiding it, not wanting to admit it. The other is this is why players who need to prove themselves. If you're not proven, I don't care protecting you you need to get better. And they knew Bryce needed to get better. In that preseason, I know that you don't think it's going to make him monumentally better, but it would have been a place where he could have maybe developed some confidence. The Panthers could have developed some confidence. Right now, he went out there in the first game and mentally shattered after 2 games.
Yeah. No, I'll tell you what it is. I blame it all on CK. He gave away all our trade secrets with that drone footage.
Dude, yeah.
It's all CK's fault. Like,
let's get back
thanks,
to
CK. I appreciate it, man.
I think I think Bryce is afraid to throw the ball deep because of my drone. He's thinking it might be something over top of him.
Yeah, he doesn't want to give away too much info.
Let's go to the next call. Chase from Anderson.
What's up, guys? This is Chase from Anderson again. If you had to pick only one call of mine to play, just play this one, would be fine. But I have to disagree with Cody that you can't go get another quarterback in 2025. I know that's the big thing we need, the biggest position, but this team is so bad. You're just going to be drafting another quarterback into a losing situation. I mean,
not a losing situation.
We still finish in the first. I mean, with the first, second, third pick, trade down, get another first pick for next year. That way you can use it to go get your quarterback and use every pick as best available player, because this team needs somebody at every position. Outside of the interior line, every position needs to be replaced. Deontay Johnson's, I don't think he's the player that people hype him up to be. He's gone. Thielen's gone. So that leaves you XL and Mingo. So you need receivers. You're going to need a right tackle because Moton's on his last leg. He's lost a step. The tight end room, we'll see. Optimistic. Running back room, you got Brooks coming up. We'll see. Defense, you need the whole defensive line outside of Brown. Now, see if he comes back as himself after injury. You need edge rushers. You need linebackers, safeties, corners. You never know what's going to happen with Horn. It's just this whole team needs to be built from the bottom up through good drafting and the right moves in the free agency. And then 2026, go get your quarterback, because I really don't have a lot of stock in this group of 2025 quarterbacks to be worth that kind of high pick. And we need to get a team that's ready for a quarterback to succeed.
CK.
And we've done the exact opposite.
CK, you know where the safest place for your drone is outside the case? 4 yards or more in front of Bryce.
Yeah.
Because he's
accurate.
averaging 3 yards per whatever. It's like the lowest in the. It makes Jimmy Clausen look productive.
That's the problem. Like right now, it's just it feels as though he is afraid to throw. Like he can throw it deep, by the way. Like we argue that he doesn't have the arm strength
right now.
He's just not willing to for some reason, and that's where I think that this is what I'm worried about. Is he's broken, you know?
He
like
can't see the game field. And then when we say we can't see the field, I'm not talking a height issue.
Right.
Is that now the mental pressure or whatever has gotten to him. It feels like that he can't see the game the way he needs to see it.
Right.
You know, and it's hard because I didn't think it was going to be like this.
Right.
Well,
I didn't think he would be mentally defeated this easily and this quickly.
Right.
He has the ability to throw it deep, maybe past 20, 25 yards. But once it gets past 20, 25 yards, it's going into triple coverage and it's going to be interception. That's his issue.
Well, that's very well. We haven't seen it in real game time. I will say that he has a beautiful deep ball if he actually throws it. He's just not willing to.
Or he can't right now.
Right?
He's got the
Yes, I've seen it in person. I have it on
You've
the
seen it
drone
in
footage.
person. You've seen it in person when he knew he wasn't going to get hit, dude. I'm telling y'all.
I agree.
Training
That's what I said.
camp,
We haven't.
training camp footage.
Listen
is
to my
not the
words.
same
I
thing.
am not defending him. I am expressing to you what listen to what I'm saying there.
Dude, he has the ability to
I said
do it. Yeah.
He has the ability to throw the ball deep. He just refuses to. And when he does, he's just so focused on making sure that he's trying to get. He just either overthrows it or underthrows it.
Even still, it's only deep to a point. Like even when you're drafting him, you didn't draft him based off of his deep ball throwing ability. Like Steve Smith even went on his pod and said that 15 to 25 yard intermediate section, that's where Bryce is going to thrive. And in my mind, that's the dumbest shit ever to move up to number fucking 1 for a dink and dunk quarterback. You might as well have sticked with Teddy Bridgewater or fucking Kyle Allen or Taylor Heineke. There's no difference at that point.
Yeah,
it was always stupid
very
to
well.
take some.
Yeah.
It was just always stupid to take someone of that size, of that athletic ability, number 1 overall because of what they did at Alabama. It was dumb then, and that's part of the reason why so many of us were very loud for CJ Stroud.
Next call.
What is going on, Panthers family? Greetings from beautiful Idaho.
What's up, buddy?
I have a feeling I know what we're talking about tonight. I'll catch you guys in the morning. I got to get to some stuff. But, hey, I wanted to throw it out there. I brought this up after the Saints game, and I think you guys were interpreting that I was saying we need to bench Bryce. But I was trying to get the point across that I feel like Canales made the decision when he trotted Bryce out in the fourth quarter down by 30 or 40 points. That's normally when you rest your quarterback, even if it's, someone that's really
they did this for Aaron Rodgers in the San Francisco game.
That's when you say, you know what, just wasn't your day. Have a seat. We'll let the Red Rifle take the fourth quarter. We're going to protect you. Go get your head straight. But he did. He marched him back out there and said, figure it out, kid. And obviously we know where that got it. So, I don't know. Everybody's around the league talking about is this Tepper making the call or Canales. I think this was Canales. I think he saw pretty quickly in training camp that he wasn't going to ride or die with Bryce. He wants to try to coach for more than 11 games. And who knows? Maybe we'll keep him around for, another season. And then we'll start a partial rebuild for the next 6 years. And we'll see where that takes us. Love you, boys. Thanks for what you do.
We appreciate the call. Let's keep rocking through these calls.
Man, Podcast Brothers, how y'all doing? Y'all know who this is. G. Cavassier. Hey, man, y'all seen it. Y'all seen it on the internet, on the TV. Bryce Young has been benched. And personally, I'm glad. I really am. And it's so sad that he gets benched and the media really starts talking about the Panthers. That's crazy. The Cowboys got blown out by the daggone Saints. And they talk about them constantly. Shit makes no sense. Yeah, but Bryce, to me, like I told y'all before, man, I got his jersey and everything like that, but it breaks my heart to say this. He's a damn bust. He is. He's going in the limelight of Jamarcus Russell, Chris Winkie, Ryan Leaf, all these damn dudes that will bust. I do not have trust in this dude. And it breaks my heart to say this, because I really want to give him a shot. Because y'all can remember 2 years ago during the draft, I wanted AR-15. That's what I really wanted.
Yep.
I really wanted him. And people keep talking about, we should have drafted, the dude that played for Houston. Am I going to mention his dang on name? And he's balling out of control, and he's doing so good. But don't they fail to realize last year we were the worst team in the NFL, and guess what? We beat the damn Texans. So shut the fuck up. Yeah, but I'm putting all my trust in Andy Dalton.
Come on, man.
I am. I see us winning some damn games with Andy Dalton. The dude been in the league for 13 years, and if anybody's like, they're not going to do anything, let's take it back to 2002. Tampa Bay Buccaneers with Brad Johnson, been in the league forever, played for the Vikings, played for the Redskins, came to Tampa Bay, and guess what? Won the damn Super Bowl, even though their damn defense was dominant as hell. Give me your thoughts on that, y'all. Keep pounding.
Look, this is a perfect segue. Shout out to G. Cavassier, one of our longtime favorite callers. But Tony, CK, Greg, the Red Rifle has a history against the Raiders. And it's a good one, man. In his 15-year career, Dalton has started 3 games versus the Raiders, winning every single contest against the Silver and Black. The former second-round pick has completed 67% of his passes in those games, tossing 7 touchdowns and 0 interceptions with a 114.2 passer rating versus Las Vegas. His last start against the Raiders came in 2022 as a member of the New Orleans Saints. Dalton finished 22 of 30 for a 73.3% completion percentage and threw for 229 yards and 2 touchdowns in a 24-0 win over Vegas. Dalton last started the game week 3 of last season, where he completed 34 of 58 passes for 361 yards and 2 touchdowns. The Panthers lost 37-27, but that was Carolina's second highest point output of the 2023 campaign. Sunday's matchup versus the Panthers should be an effortless win for the Raiders, as Carolina doesn't have much high-end talent, but Dalton's stellar play when facing the Silver and Black is something to keep an eye on. And listen, man, I maintain if this offense can have a rhythm, can have a pulse, and if Andy Dalton can push the ball downfield, I'm sorry, boys. I see this being a far more competitive game than many people are giving credit for. I think Dalton will be all right.
Till you run into Minshew magic.
Andy
Oh,
Dalton has made the Pro Bowl 3 times. He's been in 5 consecutive playoff appearances from 2011. The dude throws for consistently 3,500 to 4,000 yards plus every single season he's
He
played.
also had AJ Green those years.
Okay,
and they just went nuts together.
Okay, they got
I
drafted the
have
same
a big
year. AJ
problem.
Green
I'm
was a
not gonna
2011
listen to
draft
this
too.
Andy Dalton
So-
good shit because I had to listen to this stupid crap in Cam's year 2. Oh, Andy Dalton's a better quarterback than Cam. I was like, shut the fuck up.
I mean, bro,
I hate Andy
beyond
Dalton
the
other
rushing
people.
yards, and I hate to say this because I love Cam. Beyond the rushing yards, Andy Dalton has been a better quarterback than Cam Newton.
Wrong.
No, not wrong.
Wrong.
It's statistically true. Beyond the rushing yards, he's been
Dude,
a
how
better
far they
quarterback
get
than
in
Cam
the
Newton.
playoffs? How far they get in the
remember how
playoffs?
this was called
Okay,
the
Cam
Andy
went
Dalton
1
line?
year to the Super Bowl. Beyond that, Andy Dalton went 5 years in a row, won his division, and went to the playoffs.
Well, remember, this was called the Andy Dalton line.
Like,
It's like,
I
are
mean-
you above or below the Andy Dalton line? And it was like, are you good enough to be better than Andy Dalton?
And
Look,
Andy
the
Dalton's
dude
still
is-
playing. Cam's not.
The dude is more than serviceable. We
Greg,
know
I'm
that
about to boot you out of here if you talk
we
this any
know
more of
that
this
he can
damn
push the ball.
slander.
Dude, I don't even have the energy to really let it get Cam
I'm
Newton.
not. Don't worry, we're not.
But
I love Cam.
dude, listen, I just think that Andy Dalton has the potential to really make a name for himself. I mean, you know,
The Geno Smith
yeah.
comeback.
I mean, Geno Smith.
Comeback
because
player of the year. Here it comes.
Look what Dave Canales did with Geno Smith, with Russell Wilson,
With Bryce
Baker
Young.
Mayfield. This might be what the doctor ordered right now, man.
All right, let's go to the next goal.
Hey guys, I know seems like the Bryce era is over, or at least it's in its last days on life support. But here's a prediction that you could take to the bank and be very happy about. Within 2 to 3 years, he will replace Desmond Howard on College Game Day as an analyst and be a huge media star.
Oh,
Watch it
God.
happen. I'm telling you, the guy's got all kinds of ability behind the mic.
Might not be wrong.
And ESPN would love
Bryce?
nothing more than
Like a
to
damn drug
throw
addict.
another
Always
Alabama
bitching.
guy, especially a Heisman winner, up there on that stage whenever
Him and Nick
Desmond retires in
Saban
a
can
couple
give
years.
each other hand jobs. All right, next call.
What's up, C3? This is Riley Panther calling in. I'm sure the topic of debate tonight is going to be Bryce Young and Andy Dalton. I'm sure you're going to hear every take on that situation. But I really want to know, like, every player that leaves the Panthers seems to have a renaissance in their career. Baker, Sam Darnold are just the most recent examples. But just wanted to get y'all's
Ted
thoughts
Ginn in
on
New Orleans.
why you may think that is.
James
I just find
Bradbury
it
with the Eagles.
just kind of strange, and I don't really know why, even under different coaches and regimes and rosters, that these players go on to have, much better situations and seem to flourish in every system except for the Panthers. Anyways, hope you guys are good. Thanks for holding it down on the Tuesday night, man. Much love. Peace.
Remember
And
when
by the way-
Baker, all we talked about with Baker were the batted balls?
Yeah. And then that was supposed to
I
be one of
love
the
Baker.
selling points that Bryce
I
never
love
had
Baker.
batted balls.
Yeah.
By the way, LeBron James put out a message to Bryce Young. Panther got asked what he said. Bryce Young, hold your head, Young. Rooting for you, and you know this ain't on
man.
you. Continue the work, and it shall prevail.
Whatever. LeBron James
Again,
is a fucking
Bryce
goat.
Young holds
Carries
no
every
fault.
team. Bryce Young
And
can't
again,
do that.
this is what I was saying to CK. I understand now, CK, that the media is more on him, but I'm telling you, no one gets more grace for never having done anything
Trevor.
in the NFL than Bryce Young.
Trevor.
Bryce Young
Well,
never won a playoff game.
To be fair,
It's
Coach,
not
to
a
be fair,
good
Tony,
comparison.
I don't think people hold Trevor in the same light they do Bryce. Now, I don't think Trevor takes the same kind of criticism for maybe not being as good as he probably should have been for a first-round draft pick or for a number one draft pick, but he also doesn't get praised as the next GOAT or the next guy.
Yeah,
who
he
is
was.
the
He was
savant.
generational talent.
The first year, yeah, but he doesn't now.
Yeah, that because in Jacksonville nobody pays attention. All right, let's go to the next
Right.
call.
Hey, C3, Tyler here. Hope you guys are having a good day. I do think Bryce Young is done with Carolina. As far as will he be done career-wise, will he be traded to be determined. But barring the Andy Dalton injury, I don't think you're to see Bryce Young start another game for the Carolina Panthers unless he's just doing really well in practice and he's really just
Dalton
carrying the
gets
page.
hurt. Do very bad.
I just don't see
Or
that
Dalton
happening
gets hurt.
because if they feel like he could turn that page, they wouldn't have benched him. So to me, with Dave Canales benching him, do I think it's a Dave Canales decision? I think partly. I definitely believe Tepper is involved with it for sure. But I guess ripping the Band-Aid off now is better for them than it is later on. But I am a true believer of just letting the guy play out and just proving that he isn't the guy, which I don't think he is anyway. With Dalton, I think having him start is going to allow them to also, I guess, evaluate the other players to see, how's Dave Canales' scheme fitting? How are these players executing these plays? So it's not just the quarterback, it's the team. So, and I also don't know if you draft a quarterback next year or not, or, I don't really know what I think as far as what they should do, but I think they might go veteran next year versus drafting one. I think you have to draft, honestly, trading the pick for more picks is what they should do to add to this team. But to answer the question, I think he is done for sure. I think even I read on Twitter that Adam Thielen vocalized and said that he should seek a trade, whether it's to Miami. I think that makes the most sense, to be honest. We'll see. But if you trade for him, you're given, what are you going to get? Fifth round pick, maybe.
Yeah.
That's it. So
I think Thielen doesn't like Bryce.
Yeah, we'll see. But I think his career
Maybe.
is done. I think we definitely did do any favors last year, but he definitely deserves a lot of the blame. It's not just Bryce, it's the organization. It's not just the organization, it's Bryce too. So hope you guys have a good night. Watching you guys.
Same. Just be fair in the criticisms. That's all I'm saying. The Panthers
all
did.
Bryce.
The
Yeah, it's not all
Panthers, it's not all Bryce, but
But he's
it's
a big part of
certainly not all everyone around him and everyone else in the Panthers.
I
either.
mean, I
This-
think that's why we saw the dysfunction in like the locker room stuff is they know that they're looking at this guy and saying this, it doesn't matter what we do at this point. I don't think the Panthers have played that terribly at position groups on offense like they did last year.
Right.
Right, like the offensive line was just so bad last year. You couldn't tell anything. I don't think he had plenty of time last week. Big shout out to Tyler Sky for the $2 C3 bomb. Dalton will throw for over 300 yards. Panthers 27-10.
Yeah.
Thank you for your support. Smash the thumbs up button. And consider being a C3 super fan for $1.99 a month, as we can build those small monthly donations. Like Tyler just did a weekly donation here, or did one tonight on his own. You do that once a month for us, and the more people we can get, the small, man, it really takes a lot off of you guys, even in the chat, as we're continuing to grow this through this misery. Just think of it as a copay for the therapy session. Let's go to the next call.
Hey guys, this is Sean from Warsaw, checking in with you guys for the first time. Love listening
Thank
to
you.
you.
Appreciate it.
I just wanted to say I'm an Alabama fan, and I did not want Bryce Young. I did not want him to be the pick. I think CJ was the pick, but anyway, I'm glad we got rid of him. It was time to sit him down for a little bit. I hope we don't trade him. I hope we keep him, let him sit on the bench for a while, and maybe see what he can do next year. But it was definitely time. I think their locker room was going to explode.
Good
eventually. It was going to give up.
I think that's it. I think that's why
all
Canales.
I'm glad. Thanks for the call, guys.
That's why Canales said we want to play more football. We don't want to quit in week 2. Let's go to John B. Jenkins.
Hey guys, it's John B. Jenkins.
What's up, John?
Listen, I've been doing a lot of thinking about Matt Rule, and I really can't believe I'm even saying this, but what if we had kept him?
Oh God!
I mean, what if we had kept him? He told David Tepper it was going to take 7 years. David Tepper believed him and gave him a guaranteed 7-year contract. We're only 5 years into that 7-year contract. We're still paying him. Joe Brady has gone off to do well in Buffalo. Matt Rule is doing well in Nebraska. Baker and Sam are doing well. What if we just motherfucking kept Matt Rule?
No, fuck that.
I mean, what if I can't even believe I'm saying that. Anyway, I'm optimistic about Dalton. I really think this does give us the opportunity to see what the offense can do. I mean, maybe it isn't Bryce's fault, but I think we all know it is. But anyway, that's about all I got. Glad to see everybody still here on the panel. Love you guys, and keep pounding, everybody.
And we appreciate your
later.
support.
John B. Jenkins out.
Appreciate your call. When it comes to Matt Rule, I don't want to think about this person any more than I've already thought about him in my own life. It would have just been a mess still would have been a mess. Let's go to the next call.
Wait, hold on. Before you do, y'all remember this Dilworth bar saga where David Tepper went in there? Right, but they also had a sign. Well, did you see that they've upgraded the sign at the Dilworth Neighborhood Grill? So it says Mayfield 2-0, Darnold 2-0, Rule 3-0, Young 0-2. You gotta love the level of trolling that they're willing to go through, and you know that David Tepper drives by the thing, so it's like, dude, I love it. I love the pettiness.
That is great.
That goes with it. I just think it's. Y'all mentioned Matt Rule, so I figured it was. It was.
Man. I guess Nebraska got a quarterback.
Yeah, he's like a Patrick Mahomes doppelganger.
Yeah, let's go.
How funny would it be if we drafted this cat?
Oh, that'd be incredible.
And then bring back Matt Rule as the coach.
No, fuck that.
Yeah.
All right, next call.
The girl that makes him howl, a.k.a. Joey the Blind Panther.
Kinda forever.
Yeah. My dad and I were at the stadium. Andy Dalton. Doom, 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 doom. Yeah. We're tired of Bryce Young. You know? I mean, it was so bad with that guy. I looked over at my friend and I told her, I said, sorry, you have to actually see this shit. But on a serious note, he's got a problem. Bryce has got a problem because if Mr. Positive Dave Canales is giving up on your ass after week 2, yeah, dude, you suck. And there's a thing about Bryce Young not knowing the difference, not knowing what the hell an open wide receiver is. Well, Andy Dalton does. We have a good offensive line. We can't really say our wide receivers are bad,
right?
Because
they haven't
really had a
been
chance.
able to get the ball to do anything with. How could you have? We know Mingo fumbles a lot, but how much of that is because Bryce could barely get him the ball? Like when he gets him the ball, like the one target.
He's
a game.
really not having
His
to
fumbles
hold
are
on
on
one
him.
catch a game he's able to make.
I won't give
because,
Bryce that, or I won't put that on Bryce.
Bryce is being Bryce.
Mingo's a bum.
But
Mingo's a bum.
I think, I don't think this team is as bad as it looks through these 2 weeks. I think Bryce Young is holding us back I think
where are all the crazy Bryce supporters today?
And
They're quiet.
At least we see a lot out of Lee Get because I like his
There's Glenn.
accent.
There's G baby.
And
Where's Glenn at? Yeah.
you might see a lot of those guys. Now, the thing I don't like is why the hell would you cut Leota? Because our defense is already gutted. That's
we need to talk about this.
And that's like one of the few things on the team that Bryce doesn't have anything to do with.
Is dude Italian?
But it is.
No, Ray Leota.
It is quite concerning. But maybe Andy Dalton's seasoned veteran style of leadership, who he has the respect of players, And I don't think Dave Canales is leaving the locker room at all. I think Bryce was. Bryce is going around fist bumping people, sitting on a bench by himself. People are booing him at the stadium. It's time for him to go. Even my blind ass saw it. Even my blind buddies at work saw it. Anyway, guys.
Damn.
Dude, how many
You know it's bad when blind people can see how fucking terrible you are, dude.
How many blind people does he work with, and where do you work?
Oh, I think he works like doing some sort of sewing stuff or something, or putting some on parachutes together. So imagine that.
Probably better than I am.
This parachute packed by a blind man.
He reads the instructions are in Braille and he puts it together. I did want to mention
basketball, bro.
I did want to mention this because Joey brought it up. So we did waive Eku Leota. He's been sort of like a training camp body for a while. He currently leads the Panthers in sacks,
and we cut him.
Panthers have waived him.
He had more sacks than Brian Burns.
What exactly are we doing here?
It doesn't make. I have no idea.
What sense does this make? They also cut Jordan Matthews, the tight end.
The only people that have done, the only people that have made any memorable contribution to this team, they're like, get the fuck out of here.
It's like in one hand they want to tank, but in the other hand they don't. I just don't get what they're doing.
There's not really a madness.
There's got to be something going on with that. Like, is he hurt? Is he? Is there something like? Is there another position group that's just so abysmal that they need? It doesn't make any sense that that's the player you cut out of anybody.
So they had to make room for another quarterback.
We still got like 6 calls to go, dude.
Where? So the roster moves, that we did end up doing were as follows.
The practice squad tight end. Okay. Yeah. Oh no, so we cut Jordan Matthews and we're giving Felipe Franks to an active roster.
How fucking dumb!
What the hell does that even mean?
How fucking dumb!
Alliteration, man. Felipe Franks.
Is that not the dumbest shit ever, though?
I mean, I don't even know how.
He was on the active roster for the opener, was later released and signed to the practice squad, and played last week as a standard elevation for the week. Oh, and they say he's already a valuable contributor to the special teams. What the fuck are you talking about,
The
stupid?
special teams are so great with this new fucking stupid kickoff they have. God, I can't
Panthers
stand
head
that.
coach mentioned Monday
Ugh.
that nose tackle Shai Tuttle suffered a foot injury, and they were already short there after putting Derek Brown on injured reserve. They only have 4 healthy linemen on the roster at the moment, being Ashawn Robinson, Nick Thurman, LeBron Ray, and Jordan Peavy, with Deshaun Williams and TJ Smith on the practice squad. Long story short, Vegas is going to run the fuck out of the football, boys.
Yeah, but they've only got Madison and White, so we'll see what happens with that.
All right.
Madison's okay, but White's kind of garbage. So
All
we'll
right,
see what
next
happens.
call.
Hi guys, it's Shalika. It's been a long time,
Hey, what's
but
up?
I've definitely been watching. I just wanted to say that in regards to the whole Bryce thing, I think it's a pretty simple choice. We have invested a lot in getting Bryce Young, so I think what you do is I know we're anxious as fans because we haven't been winning in a long time, but I would hate for us to go back and we see another Teddy, Sam, a Donald, because that's just going to be a horrible. So I think because we've invested so much in him, what we do is we allow him to play, and either one or two things happen. He either learns the system or we get the number 1 draft pick. So I think that's a win-win because right now, this organization from the top down, Tepper, oh my God, it's a disaster. So I don't think we can get no worse than where we are. So that's what I think. Bye.
Could Canales be one and done? Imagine that.
Dude, can I just say that I think it would be so stupid to fire Canales after this year.
I agree.
Dude, I think you have
I
to
agree.
let them.
I agree too.
You have to let. Okay, so here's another thing too that we didn't mention, right? That everyone's like, oh, you gotta wait a little bit to get the quarterback. Well, Matt Rule also waited too long to get a quarterback, and he ended up being fired. There's no guarantee that
And
they're
got
going to
paid.
be around long enough to get the quarterback that they want. So Canales might find that guy this year and say, yeah, this is the guy that we're willing to roll with.
Well, and talking to that caller right there, like I get the idea of letting Bryce sit down and maybe learn the system, but I got to ask, after 18 games of starting, what more can you learn about the NFL and the system that you haven't already learned? At what point is it throwing off your tippy toes and overthrowing receivers by 10 yards is just, you're just not a good guy? You know, like, I don't think that him learning any more of the system is going to make him any better. I think he is what he is. This is the guy he is.
Yeah.
He's a third string quarterback in the NFL, if he's even in the NFL, to be truly honest with you. I don't think he can learn any more sitting down and watching, especially because he's going to have a booster seat to sit down and watch and be able to see over the crowd. You know, I just don't think he's going to learn anymore. I think he is what he is. I think we need to accept that. He's a bust, in my opinion, and it's not going to get any better with Bryce Young. It's just, he's done.
Yeah, I don't think it's just your opinion, by the way. I think it's, as of now, there's not enough evidence to say anything other than he's a bust. I mean, it's not saying that he can't go somewhere else and be successful, but right now, there's not an argument that can be made that makes sense that he's not a bust.
Right.
All right, let's go to the next call.
Hey guys, Kyle, calling in from Wilmington. I know everybody's talking about, right before the news that Bryce was getting benched, we were talking about it, and we were on the mindset, either we're gonna leave Bryce in there and let him see for himself and let everyone else see that he just isn't the guy. Either that, or we're going to put in Andy and see what we can save of the season. I was kind of on the fence last night, but after obviously they announced that Bryce was getting benched, this is good. This is good because I don't know any one fan of any sport, not even just Panthers or just football, that wants to watch their team lose. Right. I mean, the roster isn't great, but let's just, nail down what position we actually need. Anyways, guys,
Peace out. Keep pounding.
No, I think he hits it right on the head there. What I'm tired of is not being excited about Panthers games. I'm tired of going into the first quarter and feeling like after the first quarter of the game, I'm done and want to watch another game. I don't care if we don't win every game. I just want to be able to watch the game and feel like we have a chance. I want to see competitiveness. And I think that's what most fans feel right now. We don't have to win. We're not going to. I get it. We're not going to win more than 4 games, maybe at the most.
This has made me dislike football, Greg.
It really does.
Like,
it
to
makes
the point
like
where I'm not even interested in football in general right now, and I love football.
let me put this as non the best way I can. I was in a situation this week where I could only watch certain things. And after the first quarter of the Panthers game, when it got changed to the Saints and the Cowboys game, I wasn't mad at all. I was tired of watching the Panthers game after 1 quarter. And I am sick and tired of being tired of watching the Panthers after 1 quarter.
So tired of being tired of being tired.
Yes, it is so irritating. I just want to be competitive. I don't care if we win. I just want to be competitive. I want to feel like we have a chance to win. Because we're going to win some if we do.
I want a chance for a first down, bro.
Yes. Yes, I'm tired of watching the whole quarter with no first downs. Yes, I agree.
Nothing. This has been 2
I like this
miserable
comment.
fucking years.
I like this comment from Robert. It's not being political, but we need to make Bank of America Stadium great again, baby. We do.
All
We
right,
do.
Let's go to the next
We
goal.
need to start pounding, not keep pounding.
Yeah.
Yo, what's going on, fellas? Mr. 704, keep pounding.
What's up, 704?
Zach Harris from Kannapolis, North Carolina. Y'all want to know why other quarterbacks go and succeed? Y'all really want to know why? Let me tell you why. Because we're cursed. And you know why we're cursed? It's because we didn't do right by our playoff, Super Bowl, continuing winning quarterback, Cam Newton. We did him dirty as shit.
Yep,
Oregon,
I'll give you that.
Shit on him.
We didn't do him right when
They
he
didn't
was
give
an
him no
MVP.
respect. Everybody hated on him.
I give you that.
Everybody talked shit about him, even though he was hitting the shoulder by T.J. Watt in Pittsburgh on purpose when David Tepper was a part of the Steelers organization. And nobody want to talk about that. Nobody want to talk about how maybe David Tepper came into the Carolina Panthers organization to make this team fail because they all had it out with Cam Newton back in the day. But we don't want to talk about football conspiracies right now. You may not play
he
this
did
phone call.
have a
on this
revenge
episode, but I
mansion.
damn sure going to be watching the next episode because I'm a little behind this evening. But you know what? Much love, C3 Nation. Keep pounding.
Oh, I
That
mean,
was the
look,
turning point.
this is why I don't like Andy Dalton, bro. Is because of all these fucking these discontent Panther fans who didn't know how fucking cool Cam Newton was when they had him, and they're like, "Oh, well, he's not the best pocket passer. He's not the most accurate. He's not the best this. He's not this." I'm like, bro, but he is everything. He's all these other things plus those, and you don't know how good he is. And really, I think what I would argue is that the reason that Cam isn't in the league anymore is because the Panthers did a disservice to him on offense.
Absolutely.
And they just said, look, we've got this guy that can do it by himself. So we're going to have fucking Byron Bell play left tackle, and we're going to have Ted Ginn Jr. be the best receiver that he ever has. And we're going to have Philly Brown and Brenton Burson.
So
and if you go to it's Brandon Bean and Buffalo, I think the first thing he saw when he believed in Josh Allen is he went and got him Stephon Diggs. He got him some shit.
Yeah, they learned from the previous failures of the Carolina Panthers. And look, Tony, old beef set aside, I was firmly in that conversation with you. Prime Cam Newton is better than Prime Dalton. But the reason why I'm happy about Dalton right now, and by the way, shout out to Aries Claire from the 704 Charlotte Bound Show. She sent me this from John Ellis. Out of 33 qualifying centers from PFF, Austin Corbett ranked number 1. Right out of all qualifying centers. Robert Hunt ranked number 2, and left guard Damian Lewis was 15 out of 68. I'm
telling you, if you think the offensive line is the problem this year, then you're not watching the games.
If you give
you're just
Andy
going
Dalton,
off of past problems.
give the Red Rocket some time to chuck a few piss missiles, and we're gonna be all right, dude. I'm telling you, man.
Yeah, and Tony, let me redeem myself too, okay? Because I just want to say I love Cam Newton. Cam Newton is probably my second favorite athlete of all time, behind Julius Peppers. I love Cam Newton. He is by far my favorite Panther of all time. Okay, Cam Newton in his prime, yes, hands down better than Andy Dalton could have ever been. Okay, but all I mean when I say that, as I step outside the box of loving Cam Newton, I say, in totality, Andy Dalton has a better career than Cam does, minus the 1 year Cam was the MVP in the Super Bowl. Okay?
And he also wasn't the greatest goal line threat in the history of football, and have
Cam was still playing
15th most rushing touchdowns in the history of football.
If Cam was still playing, Cam would have a better career than Andy Dalton, but he's not. Because Andy Dalton is still playing, and because Andy Dalton was more consistent than Cam passing-wise through his career.
Now, Andy did some things. You're right.
You can add caveats into it, but I'm saying
he did. He balled out for a little while.
Moore. Cam Newton had DJ Moore and Steve Smith. Okay,
Andy Dalton had 5 years of balling out. He balled out from balled out from 2011 to 2015.
What I'm saying is, overall, right now, because Andy Dalton is still playing and he has more statistical passing yards and success than Cam did, minus the 1 year, Andy Dalton is technically a better quarterback than Cam was. However, I would take Cam Newton over Andy Dalton right now, any day of the week. You bring in Cam Newton right now and start him, I will take him over Andy Dalton right now. Okay. But Andy Dalton, I only say that because Andy Dalton is a good quarterback. And I don't want to give him disrespect. He's a good quarterback. He is borderline Hall of Fame. He really is.
Dalton is going to give you a better chance to win today than Cam will, though. Cam's shoulders.
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah. Also, by the way, do y'all remember in 2015? So there were a couple other undefeated teams through like week 8 or week 9. The Patriots were one of them, and so was the Bengals. The Bengals were undefeated in 2015 up until like week 8 with Andy Dalton as their starter. Then Dalton got hurt in the playoffs. That's where Antonio Brown got cremated by Vontaze Burfict.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's when he got when we watched a human get CTE
the
live
birth
time.
of CT ESPN.
Yeah, no kidding. Next call.
You know what I was just thinking about? Somebody was talking about all the draft picks that the Texans had, and it made me think about it. Honestly, we had the opportunity when we could have gave up Brian Burns for the 4-round picks and just to give them away for a 4 for a second, whatever, to the Giants. Like, it was just so much mismanagement in this organization that we could be loads ahead. So it's like, I don't know. At this point, it's just kind of like, just throw the whole team away. I don't know what to do at this point. I'm not sure where we go from here because it was just so many other things we could have done. We could have just been sitting so many different places, and I think that's the part that's frustrating and it's making all of the fans anxious because I just want David Tepper to sit back and let football folks do football things because they are not that. The Teppers just need to sit over in the corner, make their money, and be quiet because they don't know football, and it is obvious, and it's becoming frustrating more and more every day to be a fan of this team going through this kind of stuff because just the mismanagement of the picks and all of this stuff that we're seeing from the CMC to the DJ Moore, and we gave them away for pennies on the dollar.
Yep.
And just to see it now, we could have had all of this, and then we gave up 3 first-round picks for Bryce. Like, look at all that we wasted. We could have had a Super Bowl winning roster by now. And so that does tell you that they don't know how to manage picks. But still, at this point, I think you just let it play out the way that it does. Please do not take or trade nothing else because it's just not working here. Just take what you have, take the losses you have. Either Bryce works or he doesn't, and you get the picks and you start from there because that's where we are.
Tony, play the applause. That's the best call of the night right there because she is exactly right. We could literally right now, we could be in the same situation we are with DJ Moore, CMC, and Brian Burns, or not have any of them like we do now and have a boatload of draft picks. However, we're not in either of those. We're right in the middle where we don't have any of those players or any of the draft picks. It's so mismanaged, it's crazy. But we could be so great either way right now, and we're not. That's a great call.
I agree with you, Guthrie, about Aiden Guthrie, about what you said about Cam. Can we play? Let's read this here. I want to put this up. Ryan Ingram. Look, I got to look above the comments. It's a Facebook comment. Thanks for listening. Look, we're on Facebook. We're on X2 live and on Rumble. Let's raise funds to send Lack to every game. And if we lose, he isn't allowed to wear sunscreen to the next game. The team will step up and play harder so they don't fry our favorite son. Love the therapy sessions. Black and blue pride, even if it bruises from an ass whooping. I still love this team, and it's because of our dudes, like everyone that's engaging in the show. Question: if we were to win a good game this week or keep it very competitive the next 2 weeks, is Bryce window down? I can't see. I think that's all that they allow on this. But yeah, I think, is this team looking significantly improved without Bryce is a real morale blow to the decision to get Bryce. And I don't know how that would be able to help his confidence necessarily. I do think that the best way for Bryce Young to have a chance to succeed on this team is for Carolina Panthers to get some wind in their sails, and then Andy Dalton get hurt, and somehow Bryce Young feel a little less pressure walking into that situation, chip on the shoulder, get ready to redeem out of that PTSD.
Hey, Michael Johnson said we got to find a way to go Tepper into assaulting Cody.
I guess I don't know if the people that you guys were fighting with on the internet, I wonder how many videos they're making about this decision. Who knows?
I will say this though. I realized that every time I go to a Panthers game, both literally and figuratively, I get burned every time.
Oh, boom. At least it doesn't burn down there, I hope. All right,
no.
Next call.
My balls are still really white.
Tony Dunn, I'm sorry to tell you this. Just heard you say this on the podcast, and I just want to fight back on this. You're talking about if a guy goes 12 or 13 or 22, he doesn't have to start. No, I actually think you got to get out of the first round or have a Hall of Fame person ahead of you in order not to start. Or the rare thing where you have Mahomes being on a playoff team with a decent quarterback in order not to start now. Because otherwise, after you go 0-5, or let's say you even go 3-5, people are going to say, oh, you got to find out what the guy's got. You got to find out what they got. Why are you playing Dalton? Why are you playing, bridge quarterback or whoever it is? So every year you hear teams saying, oh, we're going to get this guy. He's going to be the bridge quarterback. Remember, Minnesota got Sam Darnold to be the bridge for J.J. McCarthy for about 3 or 4 games, and then they were going to turn it over to McCarthy. That was the plan. Justin Fields, same thing. He was supposed to have a year developed. After a handful of games, they said, well, let's go ahead and find out what we got. Everybody does this. I'm sorry, but it's like the kid who can't wait until Christmas to open the present, even if it ruins it.
Fair point. Good call.
Yeah.
Good call. All right.
And I'm telling y'all, 50,000 yards and 300 touchdowns is Hall of Fame numbers.
Oh, God.
That's Hall of Fame numbers right there. And Andy Dalton can do that this year with the Panthers. Pass both those numbers
50,000 yards this year. Fuck. Yeah.
He's like 48 and a half right now. Yeah. And at like 290 or 270 something touchdowns. Yeah. He can pass that this year with the Panthers. That's Hall of Fame numbers.
Hey guys, it's AU Link. I'm watching your guys' show live right now on this lovely Tuesday night. Well, it happened earlier than I thought it would. But I would agree with the C3 staff, cast, and fellas, and a lot of fans that we need to prove to the Panthers need to prove to themselves and to the rest of the NFL. Was Bryce the problem with the offense, which I think is highly likely, or was it Dave Canales' and Dan Morgan's attempt to build the offense, put all these weapons, spend all this stupid amount of money on the offense, gutting the defensive process and stuff? We will see.
We will see.
See you guys this Sunday.
Yeah, there's the stakes are not high for us as fans, but are very high for Bryce. What's wild is Bryce Young had control over his destiny. Now he doesn't.
Well, the problem is
now his destiny is controlled by the success and failures of other people.
Right. And the problem is the bar is very low. Like literally, Andy Dalton can throw for 200 yards, which is very typical for an NFL quarterback. and a touchdown and no turnovers this week. And that is a vast improvement on what we've seen so far. The bar is very low for him to be able to succeed.
And do y'all know that Chuba is averaging something like 6 point something yards per carry?
Yeah,
like
they said
the plan of
rush.
attack could not be more simple.
Yeah,
run
I
the
agree.
fuck out of the football, let Chuba get carries, and every once in a while selectively take your shots downfield. Like there is a
Bar is
clear
very low.
method to victory. I
But
think
that's
the biggest,
really, I think, what on the tape destroyed them is like they were on schedule. They were in 3rd and 3 or less, like several times, and had no chance of getting it.
Yeah.
Once they went to Bryce.
I think
So-
the biggest question is going to be this defensive line versus their offense and their ability to run the football. Are they just going to eat up the clock and run the
Zamir
football?
White is
on
No,
us?
as long as
running
they don't
back.
get ahead by a billion, the other teams
Yeah.
can't just
Yeah.
do that.
Right.
What do we got? We got anything left? Because those are all the calls. We've done a lot of Bryce talk. We've got we got to do our picks real quick. The Las Vegas
let's make our picks.
Raiders. We're going on the
By the
road.
way, we all went 1-3 last week.
All right. Well, I am picking the Raiders here today. I know that everybody wants to get excitement, and I could see an opportunity where there is a little excitement. Kind of like where you get a interim head coach. They always win that first game after the interim head coach, and then they lose the second one. But I'm still going Minshew magic, baby.
Hang on, let me grab a pen real quick.
All right. So Tony is.
By the way,
Greg-
thank you to Zindico for the $2.
Oh, man.
Says C3 YouTube community tab newest comment for Greg. Appreciate you.
Nice. Nice. We appreciate it. Thank you for all y'all support. A lot of generosity tonight. Remember, you can subscribe to the show if you haven't. And now we're on our way trying to get to 7,000, but we got a ways to go. We're going to need your help to get to 7,000 subscribers. Smash the thumbs up button. That's free. Consider being a C3 super fan. And Greg, I'm going Raiders.
Okay. Raiders. All right.
You guys fire away with your picks. Let's get this.
Okay.
I'm going for the first time this season. I'm going Panthers winning this game.
A real glass half full guy.
Greg.
I'm going Panthers too. I think Andy Dalton does it this week, and I think we win this game.
Damn. We'll
I don't
make
think
it
the
3 to
Panthers are
1,
as far
baby.
as
I'm
we
taking
think.
Carolina.
Oh,
Carolina, I think we're going to win, I would say 24-17.
Ooh, yeah. Good. I forgot to do a.
Yeah, I forgot.
I'm doing 24-21 Raiders. Actually, no, 24-20 Raiders.
I'm gonna go. You know what? Panthers. I'm gonna go 31.
Yeah.
Yes.
21.
Dude, I
I
was
mean,
about to
it
say
could
35.
happen. Like
I was about to say
if you're gonna
35.
win, it might be like just a crazy.
I'm going
turn it-
31-21 Carolina.
Next game we got Broncos at Bucks. Give me the Bucks. Underestimated these guys all year long. Went into Detroit, got it done. The Broncos. The only reason we're not talking about the Broncos and their quarterback is because we're on the other side of the country and ours is getting benched. But the Broncos are a mess.
Yeah.
Yes. That they're
Sean
about as
Payton
bad as
may get
Carolina.
fired after the season.
I
Which is
know.
great.
I know.
About as bad as Carolina.
So anybody picking the Broncos? Or
No.
are we on? Nope. All right.
Over
I'm-
Broncos over who?
Bucks.
Bucks.
No way.
No, I'm picking Tampa. And by the
And-
way, thank you to Tyler Sky with the $2. Says Minshew going to throw 2 interceptions.
Maybe, but he may throw for 300 yards too.
Tony, you need to use that soundboard better, man.
Okay.
That's a good one. That's an applause.
All right. It's like
What's the next game?
final game is Chiefs Falcons. Give me the Chiefs.
Yeah.
Starting off
man.
Why would
Yeah,
you
that's
do
gonna be a
that?
tough
8:20
one. Yeah.
p.m. Kirk Cousins in the spotlight again. Big time
gonna-
comeback at the end of the game for Kirk Cousins. Saquon
His
dropped the
first
ball.
Monday
that-
night
I'm gonna
as
take
well, I
the
think.
Falcons on this one. I'm going.
Oh,
I'm
God.
going. I'm zigging when y'all are zagging. I'm going the Falcons on this one.
Saquon dropped
Hey.
the ball. Oh.
Ask this next one. Go ahead.
Sean Payton was carried by Drew Brees. Confirmed, Lafayette?
No. I mean, ask the next game that you have on the
The Saints.
that you're going to ask us.
Who the Saints play?
That
The
is.
Eagles?
Oh, the Saints have a. Where are
Dude.
the Saints?
Is it the Eagles?
Yeah, they're playing Philly.
I think the Saints. I think the Saints are
Dude,
going to run
I
all
think
over
the Saints
the
take this
Eagles.
game. Yeah.
how about
I think the
this?
Saints are legit. I think
We
CK was
really need
right.
to-
The
we
Saints
need
are a
to-
good team.
We need
Yeah.
to have the conversation. The Saints might be the best team in football right now.
Oh, shut up! I'm
Dude,
taking the Saints.
Tony,
Dude,
have
the
you not
best in
watched this?
football. The
They
best in
are,
Dude,
they're for real,
Tony,
man.
the Cowboys defense is legit, and they just fucking tore the Cowboys defense.
All my
up.
family members are Saints fans, and they're all talking
Yeah.
so much shit right now.
The Saints might be a legit team.
Well,
Dude,
I'm picking the Saints.
So everybody's picking the Saints. You talk about it, and you're taking the Saints anyway.
No, I just don't think they're the best team in football. I think that's going to
Well,
be
who's
the
better
Chiefs.
right now?
I think the Chiefs are
Dude, they
better.
scored like 90 points in 2 games. Who's better right now than the Saints?
Yeah, I think the Chiefs.
Yeah.
I think the Bills.
Dude, the past 2 games in a row before the first half ended, they had.
I
over
know.
30
I
points.
also don't want. If they're the best team in football, I'm gonna be really fucking. What a upside down universe when I thought they were gonna be
Dude,
bad.
did you see the Saints fans that were in Dallas? They threw a fucking parade. They really threw a fucking parade,
I
dude.
would've too.
Dude, those I'll say this right now. It's far and away. The Saints have the best fandom out of any NFC South team by far.
Yeah.
I mean, by far, it's not even.
Oh,
close.
by
We're gonna
NFC
start
South.
that with the
NFC
No,
South.
That's easy to. That's easy to
No,
have.
dude, the Saints, the Saints have
Hey,
crazy.
The NFC South is legit this year, y'all. Based on what I've seen so far.
Oh
Like,
yeah,
the,
dude.
the Falcons, the Saints, and the Bucks are like legit teams. We might have at least 2 teams come out of the play or go to the playoffs from this league.
All right. Can we peddle some merchandise? Go to CarolinaCatChronicles.com. You guys can order some cool gear like this coffee mug. I think this is the best item we got.
The mug is
Always
great.
good.
I love the shirt,
Great
man. I
logo.
love the mug.
The podcast shirt.
I'm waiting for the day that I'm driving around Charlotte and I see someone wearing this shirt.
Oh man,
There you go.
Come
Go
on,
to,
baby.
Go to CarolinaCatChronicles.com. Hit the gear icon. Hit shop gear, like as in gear you wear, and go get yourself a coffee mug. Go get yourself a T-shirt, and maybe even you can. If you are tired of this Bryce stuff, you can get the T-shirt. All right. So we got some cool stuff that you guys can check out, and I think that's it for what I got to say about football. If you guys are done with football talk, we can ice some fools up.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
I've got one this week that I'm sure everybody has this guy on his
Hold
list.
up. Let me play let me make it super official.
Don't forget, it's our own.
Ice up, son. Ice up.
It's our homage to Steve Smith, where we tell someone to ice up, toughen up, to get it together. Anyone is fair game, and that's about it. I mean, I've iced up a kid in Kansas. They don't even know, 12-year-old. I've iced up family members. I've iced up myself. Who are we icing up today, fellas?
Well, I'm gonna go first if y'all
All
don't
right.
care, so that way nobody takes mine because everybody always takes mine. I'm just gonna ice up Shannon Sharp. Look,
What do you do?
Shannon Sharp for me is a guy that I've loved from when I was younger. I love watching him play football for the Broncos. He's been a hero of mine for the majority of my life. And people can say what they want to about him and like Skip and Shannon, whatever. But that made me watch that show and I stopped watching after he came off it. Shannon Sharp, Tony, you didn't really hear about this?
Yeah, you hear
what
about this
rock
at
have you
all?
been living under, Tony?
Yeah,
When did it happen?
He went live on
Shannon
Insta.
Sharp went IG live while he was having sex or
Yeah,
having
accident,
carnal knowledge
assuming.
with another person.
Was it a man?
No,
Was it
it
fucking
was-
man?
it was-
Oh, Antonio Brown was waiting for that shit.
But he went
was
IG
Michelle.
live while he was doing this, and it was absolutely hilarious to hear. And I'm icing up Shannon Sharp, and I'm also icing up Fox for not firing him, even though I love Shannon Sharp. But if you're gonna fire other people for less egregious shit, like going live in the strip club, I think that he should be fired. I'm sorry. I love you, Shannon Sharp. I love you. Your takes on things. I love listening to you talk because you're mainly very hyperbolic about what you say, and that's kind of my thing. But to do this, to have this accident is one an ice up thing, and then not be fired for it is another. And I think that Fox and Shannon Sharp should both ice up for this.
Ice up. Can we find this footage later?
Probably.
Oh yeah, you can find the footage. I'll send it to you.
Who is Michelle?
Just Google Shannon Sharp. You'll find it.
Is this person somebody that we would know?
We don't know the female
Somebody
yet.
found a picture of her on Instagram, but
yeah,
she's like an older Latina.
I was so hoping it was a guy. Antonio
If you're
Brown
curious,
would have.
it's Shannon Sharp's Michelle.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Gosh.
Going all the way.
You don't even know what he's talking about. The
No.
way he like whispers her fucking name.
Oh,
while he's like,
Bro,
Yeah.
dude, Tony, look it up. It's so funny.
He claimed that he was hacked, but like you could hear him talking in the video, and
He admitted to it afterwards the next day, but it's still, I mean, that's why I stay away from. Dude, I deleted Twitter. That's why I stay away from social media now, man. It's just not
I have 3 of them, Tony, so I
All
can
right,
go
good.
whenever. you
Yeah,
want.
no, I want you to go because I don't have anything good really.
All right. Ice up to this chick who clearly got her BBLs done in a hotel room somewhere. Oh, let me pause it. Pause the
That's not
music.
real.
Okay.
That's not real.
Dude, look at
the
her ass,
legs. The
bro.
problem with the legs.
Did
Bro,
y'all
they
ever
said
watch
that she had
the
it-
old Rudolph claymation?
Yeah.
That's the nose.
Bro, they said that she got her BBL done in a hotel room. That's so
That's
stupid.
great.
All right. This is I'll go. This is a little bit longer. It's only a minute, but dude, this is the funniest fucking video ever that I've ever seen. DJ Khaled received a guitar from the Bob Marley family, and dude, wait until the end. It's the dumbest shit ever, and it makes me smile so much.
Get a close up, get a close up, get a close up of the case, the guitar. You know what I'm saying? And a special note from the Marley family. Shout out to the Marley. Melissa, can you read this for me? Can you read this to the world, please?
DJ Khaled, we're excited to share this new guitar with you. As someone who has an appreciation for Bob Marley's life and music, we want you to be one of the first to play the Gildy 20 Marley, based on Bob's at-home songwriting guitar from 56 Hope Road. This guitar inspired songs that help unite the world, and we hope it gives you inspiration as well.
Please yell DJ Khaled at the end.
Dude, am I the only one who finds that fucking hilarious? Oh
And, like-
my god, dude, the way that he has no fucking idea
Yeah.
how to play that guitar. So then okay. They said that this was Camila Cabello, but apparently it's not. Hey man, ice up. Sometimes you're just doing too much. Okay, so they hoist him up. What?
Please fall.
Oh, no.
Fell and
Oh.
landed flat on the stage, dude.
Oh, it's terrible.
Oh, so stupid. Yeah, so
All right.
to
Ice
whoever
up.
that was, yeah, ice up.
CK, you got anything for us?
I mean, mine's just gonna be this dude who tried to assassinate President Trump. I mean, like this. Listen, I'm not putting my position as far as political out there, but the dude was like sitting. I don't understand what he was thinking. He was like trying to use a chain link or just a regular old like fence as cover, as though he was going to be hidden. And if you see the pictures of where he was, like he was the most exposed that I've ever seen anybody who's tried to kill anybody on the planet. It's just the wildest thing. So I might send that dude up for just, coming in here. And if you've seen the videos of the guy, he actually, by the way, seems like he's rather intelligent. But yeah, it's absolutely hysterical.
Yeah.
All right. My ice up pick goes to Carolina Panthers for making us suffer through all this shit. Now, I don't know what to think about Bryce Young. I mean, I do, but ice up Carolina. All right. That's the longest running Panthers podcast brought to you by CarolinaCatChronicles.com. It's the C3 Panthers Podcast. We're here on Tuesday nights, Friday night, Sunday. Got the Madden simulation. Wonder what Dalton will do in that. Please continue to help us get through this. Join us for these therapy sessions, particularly one after the game. Maybe we'll be celebrating this week. Cody Lack, take us out of here.
C3 Panther Nation. Until next time, keep pounding.